hockey game in the United States. With the win, the Frost took back the top spot in the PWHL standings, sending Montreal back down to number 2. For more women's sports stories, subscribe to Good Game with Sarah Spain on iHeart Podcasts.
Elf Cosmetics presents Get Ready with Music, the album, an empowering new album for every mood. With 92% of women saying music boosts their spirits while getting ready, this album blends makeup and music to celebrate self-expression. Available now on the iHeartRadio app.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
Ever have one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance, but Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as large as the next 2 combined. So whatever your customers listen to, they'll hear your message. Plus, only iHeart can extend your message to audiences across broadcast radio. Think podcasting can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, radio, and podcasting. Call 844-844-iHeart to get started. That's 844-844-iHeart.
Get the Apple Leasing Advantage today. Visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by iHeartRadio, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
Here we are back for another week and back in studio. Always happy for that eventuality. It's always comfortable here. Glad to be back home and in the home studio. That would have been the case regardless of what would have happened on Friday night in Arlington. Just want you to make sure you understood that. So good afternoon and welcome to the program here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. My name is Craig Way. Thanks so much for joining us. And we're with you each and every afternoon from 2 to 5, Monday through Friday, unless we're traveling or a game or all that. There'll be some of that stuff going on this week for us. Us, of course, includes the producer of this program, Cameron D. Parker. The D on the birth certificate stands for Dallas, as in his favorite pro football team, who we learned just a little while ago is granting Cameron's wish and is going to have a new head coach. I was looking for confetti and streamers and horns sounding and all that other kind of stuff.
God is good. God is good.
So the Almighty handled this.
No. Yeah, he's a little bit busy with more things important than Jerry Jones. But a lot of ways we can go and go with this, Craig.
Yeah.
Just I'm glad this finally happened. If only I had seen this. Oh wait, yeah, I think all Cowboys fans knew this after last season that we were going to be here. So on the one hand, It's cause for celebration. The Cowboys and Mike McCarthy have parted ways, but also just the fact that this whole thing could have been avoided a year ago, and kind of shows you that Jerry Jones and the Cowboys just don't have a plan. They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what they're doing.
Well, their plan was hope. They were hoping that McCarthy could get it turned around. After all, they were the 2 seed last year, before the collapse against the Packers. So there was hope that they were going to build off of that. That obviously didn't happen. There was great, and then it was kind of weird because the Cowboys refused to grant the Bears permission to talk to him.
So that's what I don't understand, Craig, is if you're still in negotiations with your head coach this week, what does that mean? Like they couldn't come to a deal because apparently McCarthy wanted something a little bit longer. The Cowboys weren't sold on that. So what was your plan? Because all these other teams either they have made their hire, like the Patriots with Mike Vrabel, or you're a team like the Bears or Saints who ideally is probably waiting on a coordinator like Ben Johnson or Slowick with the Texans. Jerry Jones is just like, oh, well, let's see what happens. I don't know. We'll see. So this coaching search is going to be wild, Craig. It's going to be absolutely wild. If you told me tomorrow it's going to be John Gruden, I wouldn't be surprised. If you told me it's Jason Witten, I wouldn't be surprised. Shoot, Kellen Moore, Philadelphia, would not be surprised.
Lincoln Riley?
I don't think so, because I figured we would have heard more traction in years past. But maybe. The way Jerry, I mean, you know how Jerry likes to operate. He likes to have either a coach that has that Super Bowl resume. So that screams John Gruden or Pete Carroll. I wouldn't mind Pete Carroll. I'm not on Gruden. Or someone that has a relationship with the franchise. Kellen Moore, who was obviously the OC here before going to Philadelphia. Deion Sanders, who I don't know. Apparently his camp has reached out to Las Vegas. Las Vegas said we're good on that front. Or, as we heard coming into the show on the Cal and Coward show, Jason Witten, who I believe one of our listeners actually texted in last week and said, hey, what about Jason Witten, who I believe has won back-to-back state championships.
At the private school,
level
at Liberty Christian in Argyle. Yeah. Between Dallas and Denton, just south of Denton. Yeah, he is done it. All right. So that news is coming down today, and we've got a lot of time to discuss it, and we will. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the NFL wild card weekend, which it's weekend plus one because there's one more wild card game. That's tonight, Rams and Vikings playing in Glendale, Arizona. There's a whole lot of permutations around that and how the winner now will go to Philadelphia, not Detroit, because of what the Washington Commanders did last night. So we'll talk about that, the review of the AFC stuff, which was chalk and then some. So we'll get to that. Obviously, we'll also have a review of the Longhorn football season, which came to its heartbreaking conclusion on Friday night at the Cotton Bowl in the semifinal round of the college football playoff. We'll talk about that and the players who've decided they're moving on to the National Football League. We'll talk about the two teams remaining, Ohio State and Notre Dame. And then there's Longhorn basketball to talk about. They come off playing back-to-back games against the number 2 team in the country and the number 1 team in the country. That's never happened before for Texas. And they had 2 incredibly competitive games, especially the game Saturday against Tennessee. They were way down to Auburn, but came back and cut it to 3 twice in the final minute, but couldn't get over the hump. And then Tennessee, they led a lot of the game, including they were up by 5 with 9 minutes to go. And Tennessee was able to ease away and win it by 4. And the Longhorns leave tomorrow for Norman, Oklahoma, to play an Oklahoma team that started off unbeaten and was red hot. But now the Sooners, just like the Longhorns, are 0-3 and are trying to find their way in the SEC. And those two are in an important matchup on Wednesday night at Lloyd Noble Center. And by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, did you see the tip-off time for the game?
I've noticed.
Wednesday.
I've noticed.
Did you notice on the itinerary what time we get back home? It's the game tips off at 9:00 Central Time. 9:00 Central Time.
That's 10 Eastern.
That's
by the way.
10 Eastern. And this is one of the byproducts, one of the collateral things that happen when you join a new league like the SEC, which has a lot of Eastern time zone teams. And what happens is television, and of course, ESPN is a slave to, the SEC is a slave to ESPN. We know that. And because of that, they want to have a triple header on certain nights, including Wednesday. So there's a triple header, which would be at 5 o'clock Texas time, 7 o'clock Texas time, 9 o'clock Texas time. And so they, with the two of the teams in the Central Time Zone, there's more than just those two that are in the Central Time Zone. Both Mississippi's, LSU, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, all of those teams are in the Central Time Zone. But let's see, Alabama and Auburn are in the Central Time Zone. So in any event, as it stands, it's one of those weird deals where you're going to play at the time that television assigns you to play. So for those who are mad about the schedule, that's all established by the SEC in conjunction with and in consultation with ESPN. So the game on Wednesday night is at 9 o'clock, and it's an important game for both of those teams. Neither side wants to go to 0-4 in conference play, so that's Wednesday night at Lloyd Noble, Texas. Women come off yesterday's test that they were unable to pass against the number 2 team in the country. They lost at South Carolina 67-50, and it had some of the most bizarre numbers that you'll ever encounter in looking at it. And I couldn't believe it myself when I was calling the game, but we'll recap some of those. We have Inconceivable coming up, and in Inconceivable, we've got a story. We didn't have a show Friday because Friday was game day. So on Friday, we usually have Florida Man. Well, my wife had a story brought to her attention about a Florida couple. And this is as Florida Man and Florida Woman as it gets, because it involves robbery and defecation.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we'll have that coming up at Inconceivable. Plus, we have the latest edition. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen from time to time. The latest edition of the Inconceivable Craig Way travel story, and it happened yesterday because probably was a byproduct of all the travel of the past several days and just some absolute abject dumbassery on my part. But, I'll own it, and we'll just live with that and just deal with that. So that's coming too in Inconceivable. So understand we got that. We're going to hear from Rodney Terry, Longhorn men's coach. Coming up, we've got a lot of other things we'll get to. We'll open up the text line for your questions, your thoughts, your comments. All you have to do is text the word Texas, followed by your question or comment, to 81530. So you text the word Texas, followed by your question or comment to 81530. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. And also, the talkback feature is available if you'd like to avail your voice to us. All you have to do is have that working iHeartRadio app downloaded onto your smartphone. Real easy to do. If you don't have it, you just download it on there. It's free. It's easy. Then you just do the little search thing for AM 1300 The Zone. It pops right up. There's a little red button with a white microphone in the middle. You tap that button. You can leave us up to 30 seconds of a voice message going, yeah, that was a dumb travel story you had, Craig. Or, yeah, I think the Cowboys should go after, fill in the blank, whatever. That's how you do the talkback feature as well. So we'll get to all that and more coming up. It is a Monday here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone, and where you always listen to us for free on the iHeartRadio app.
Text Texas, followed by your message to 81530 to chat along with your favorite sports radio AM 1300 The Zone hosts. That's Texas, followed by your message to 81530. Standard data and message rates may apply.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bonus. That's bonus. Enter it now.
AM 1300 The Zone.
The cleats have hit the field. Kickoff is here. Game day's arrived and Specs brings the cheers. Ice-cold beers, team-lifting spirits, cocktails in a can. Score 'em all and hear your fellow football fans chant, "You the man." And with Specs' largest selection and lowest prices, you can make every game day feel just as nice. Before the players start running their routes and schemes, run a route to Specs for your game day needs. Specs, cheers to savings.
Using a Clorox disinfecting wipe to clean that stuck-on sauce from the stove feels like...
Oh, boy. That tickles. Stop.
It feels like coming home to your needy corgi after a long day.
Best part of the day, finally.
With Clorox, clean feels carefree. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Sweetie, come here. Don't worry. I see a lot of patients with the exact same thing.
Ever since the ice skating rink went in next door,
Or is it more than
Dr.
me?
Clark's business is heating up.
So many patients need my help. How will I find time to see all of them?
They need to hire a scheduler, stat.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Score deep discounts and deeper sleep during Mattress Firm's semi-annual sale and clearance. Take up to 60% off select mattresses and more. Plus, get a free adjustable base on qualifying purchases. Shop today for free and fast delivery. Restrictions apply.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, Price Lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
Hi, I'm Yvonne Nava with KView. Want to stay updated on the local stories that matter to you? Download KView Plus and get breaking news, weather updates, and newscasts on demand. Free on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Start streaming today.
Hey, it's Bobby Bones. Join me and former NFL quarterback Matt Castle for our new podcast, Lots to Say with Bobby Bones and Matt Castle. Between us, we have over 17,500 passing yards, multiple New York Times bestsellers, and 1 Mirrorball trophy from Dancing with the Stars. So where else are you going to find a show with that much athleticism and football insight? Listen to Lots to Say with Bobby Bones and Matt Castle on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart.
Open your free iHeart app and search Lots to Say with Bobby Bones and Matt Castle and start listening.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Southern Rock Ride. The greatest Southern rock hits from the 70s and 80s. Skinner, 38 Special, Allman Brothers, and more. Open the free iHeartRadio app, search Southern Rock Ride, and listen now. Free never sounded so good.
It's the Morning Kickoff Show with Mike Hart, Paul Harsh, and Mark Henry. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. Only on Sports Radio, AM 1300, The Zone. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
We're glad you're with us on a Monday afternoon here. I know the hurt and the wound are probably still fresh for a lot of Longhorn fans as to what happened on Friday night at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, in Arlington. I'm with you. I totally get it. Totally understand it. I think there's a lot of different perspectives, not only on the game and how it ended, but there are those who have kind of, you might say, combined or just kind of molded the game and the way it ended on Friday night into their perception of the season as a whole. And that's where I would probably differ with those folks who would do that, because I think they are two separate things. One ended the other, but it doesn't mean that the other was as tragic as the ending of the first. As you might imagine, the game itself, obviously, it looked for a long time as though the Longhorns were not going to be able to muster much offensively against that Ohio State defense. And then the adjustments were made, had the late first half drive, and then you had gut punch number one, the screen to Travion Henderson, who takes it 75 yards for a touchdown in the waning seconds of the first half. That was the first gut punch. Then the Longhorns fight hard and score in the third quarter, get the touchdown on the second pass to Jaden Blue to tie the score. And I know some of you have noticed this, but for those who had not, that was the first third quarter touchdown for the Longhorns in 6 weeks, six games. Now, ironically, in all 6 of those prior games, they led all of them. And in all but one, the Arizona State game, the Peach Bowl, they scored at least a field goal in the third quarter, but there were no offensive touchdowns in the third quarter coming after the Florida game all the way through to that Ohio State game. Also, in those 6 games, the Longhorns won 5 of them. The only one that they didn't win was the SEC championship. Now, that was going up to the third quarter of the Cotton Bowl. And they get the touchdown to tie it. Give up the touchdown in the fourth quarter. They fall behind 21-14. I know a lot of Longhorn fans who saw, especially those who were at the game and could look up at the Jumbotron and see Colin Simmons' jersey being grabbed, and he clearly held when he could possibly have had a sack. Instead, it turned into an 18-yard play on third down and 10, I believe. Those things happen. The college football game is an imperfect science, and officiating is also that, an imperfect science. And calls get missed. And sometimes calls that should not have been called are called. Those things happen. It is part of the game, and we're all subject to it, I suppose, as followers of the game. Undaunted, the Longhorns do start fighting back. They hit some big passes, one to Wingo, and then the other to Matthew Golden. And they get it down there, and then there's not one but 2 pass interference calls on back-to-back. It kind of reminded me of, I don't know if you remember this game, the Super Bowl when the Rams played the Bengals on that final drive for the Rams. The Bengals kept committing pass interference penalties right at on Cooper Kupp. They were just grabbing him, holding him, practically tackling him, and they just bam, 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 kept hitting him with the pass. And then they finally wound up throwing him a pass that he caught anyway. In this case, they get it down to the 2-yard line and have a pass interference call. So now they got first and goal at the 1. And if it's too painful for you to recap, I got you. I understand you know, cover your ears or however you want to dismiss us. But just to recap it, they bring in the jumbo package, and they have Jermaine Lole back there. They have big defensive linemen there as blocking backs. And they give it to Jarrett Gibson. I've looked at it a couple of different times. Yes, it does look, I know some folks thought this, that Gibson kind of cut away from the blocks. He kind of turned back inside a little bit, but it was between the 2 blocks, but the second block did not come through the way they wanted. So as a result of that, he gets tackled short of the goal line. Now it's second down. I also know the sentiments of many saying you just pounded away 4 times at the 1-yard line. And if you don't get it in, then you say we didn't deserve to win. Well, if you don't get it in from the 1 yard line on 4 downs, no matter what downs you use, you didn't deserve to win anyway, regardless of how you spend the downs. Clearly, Sark felt that Ohio State's number 1 run defense and number 1 defense in the red zone was going to be as tough against the run as the Longhorns had been down like they were against Arizona State and against Texas A&M against the run. And that's why they went with the pitch out, but you had one player miss a block. Caleb Downs makes a great play just shooting through the gap, and Trey Wisner gets trapped for a 7-yard loss. Now it's 3rd down. You get a tip pass when Wingo looked like he might be open for a moment, but it was tipped. And then it brings up to 4th down, and again, it was another missed block, and Ewers gets hit, the ball comes loose, and the most catastrophic of all results, because even if he's just sacked there and Ohio State takes over, you still have your timeouts, and the 2-minute timeout could have perhaps pinned him back and forced a punch. You never know. But the worst of all possible outcomes, obviously, the strip sack, the fumble, the 83-yard return for the touchdown by Jack Sawyer, and that was it. So there's a lot of ways to analyze it and talk about it, and there's a lot of fault finding. That's part of the game. And as fans, you have every right in the world to play that blame game. It's the easiest thing in the world is to second guess when you get at the 1 yard line too, when things don't go right, even when it's not at the 1 yard line. Hindsight's always 20/20. It's always going to be that way. And it's okay to speculate. I think Sark gets that. Everybody understands that. He stands by what he went for, but it wasn't properly executed, and as a result, they wind up losing the game. Now, here's the part where I was talking about, where it rolls back differently from the season itself. It's incredibly disappointing, obviously, and it was really cool to see a lot of Longhorn fans so excited there, and it was a decided home field advantage in the car. Wouldn't you say so, Cam? You were in there. Would you say?
I think I tweeted when I first walked into AT&T Stadium, it felt like I was at DKR, Mount of Burnt Orange, on both sides of the field.
Agreed. And so for those who say, Texas fans are just T-shirt fans or this and that, they don't show up, blah, blah, blah. Those of you who are there, pat yourself on the back. You did a heck of a job. You made a lot of noise. And I know the players and the coaching staff appreciated it as well. So that just means there's that much angst, heartbreak, disappointment, disillusionment, in some cases anger, frustration, all of those things about how it ended. And that's totally understandable. I would differ with those who think it is microcosmic of the season. You don't win 13 games and 15 tries going into that contest without doing the vast majority of things correctly, in terms of the coaching, in terms of the play calling, in terms of the execution, all of it. This is a season to be proud of. This is back-to-back Final Fours for this team. And for those who want to throw some stones, go ahead, but understand the program that you're throwing the stones at right now is 25-5 of the past 2 years. 25-5. Back-to-back trips to the Final Four, including having to earn their way back to the Final Four this year by winning a first-round game and a Peach Bowl quarterfinal to get there. They were the only ones from the 4 teams that were in the playoff last year even to get into the 12 team, let alone the Final Four. So they have a lot to be proud of. Satisfied? No, of course not. Still ways to go, and they're still building. And I would just say this. I don't know if you saw it on social media. Here's Nick Benito, the former Sooner, just kind of clowning Michael Taft for letting out a primal scream of anguish and frustration on his way to the locker room and getting emotional. And then there's Nick Benito getting interviewed yesterday after the loss to the Bills, and he's getting choked up, you know. And you know, it's a little bit different in both cases. One's making more noise, yeah, but the other one is supposedly the older veteran pro. I think there's nothing wrong with either situation of being choked up or expressing frustrations. You pour so much of yourself, your heart and soul. We visited with Taft. Taft wasn't in the general news conference. He did visit with us on the postgame, and his voice was shaky, and he was upset with himself and how it goes. But he was also very, very proud of the season and of his coaches and of his teammates. And that says a lot, not only about him and the kind of guy he is, because he is that kind of guy, but not only that, but also about this football program. So if you are indeed a true fan of all of that, then I would say, take some pride in what this football team accomplished. Nobody said they've arrived or anything like that. But in terms of that, what had become the age-old question, are they back? I would say back in terms of being an annual contender with the signing class that's coming in, with what they have coming back, with what they're building on. It's reason to be pretty optimistic about what's to come in the future. All right, coming up next, we have Inconceivable, a couple of bizarre stories, and then just a kind of dumb travel story on my part, but it does kind of fall into the Inconceivable file. That's next here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone.
Hey, folks, Bama Brown here. If you've been listening to me for 37 years here in Austin radio, then maybe you'll listen to my podcast. That's right. I'm doing a podcast. I'm going to talk about all kinds of different things, but I've got stories from radio, stories from life, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to make you laugh anyway. Give us a listen. You might enjoy it. It's called the Bama Brown Experience, and we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. Easy to listen to, BamaBrownPodcast.com, or free on the iHeartRadio app. That's the BamaBrownPodcast.com.
Not all products are available in all 50 states. Compounded products are not FDA approved nor verified for safety, efficacy, or quality. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. See website for full details.
Why try Hims for weight loss? If you're interested in personalized prescription options, including Ozempic, Wegovy, oral medications, and compounded GLP-1 injections, and the support to see real results, you might like it. Why try Hims to regrow hair? If a range of treatment options made with clinically proven ingredients like minoxidil and finasteride for thicker, fuller hair in 3 to 6 months sound good, you might like it. Why try Hims for ED? If you've been looking for access to doctor-trusted treatments like Viagra, Cialis, and their more affordable generic counterparts, you and your partner might like it. The Hims process is simple, 100% online, and treatments are shipped free to your door in discreet packaging if prescribed. What's not to like? To save big on weight loss, hair loss, and ED solutions, get started today at Hims.com. That's Hims.com.
Not thinking about radio? Think again. Because more people are listening to the radio on iHeart today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeart Broadcast Radio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, social, any other media, even twice as many teens than TikTok. Think radio can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, podcasting, and radio. Call 844-844-iHeart to get started. That's 844-844-iHeart.
Second opinions.
You get them with your health.
So why not with your wealth?
Your stock market investments deserve a second opinion.
At Henyon & Walsh, it only takes a second
to schedule your free second opinion.
Go online and search for Henyon & Walsh, the second opinion people. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services provided by Henyon & Walsh Asset Management. Securities offered by Henyon & Walsh Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
There's no better place to buy your new Chevy than Henna Chevrolet. Right now, we have the biggest discounts in the last 5 years. Plus, 0 for 60 months is available on a large selection of vehicles. As an Austin original since 1936, Henna Chevrolet has been treating customers right and saving them some serious money. For straightforward, all-inclusive pricing, together let's drive at Henna Chevrolet or Henna.com.
An accident or injury can derail your life in an instant, leaving you struggling to pay for medical bills and daily expenses. At Thomas J. Henry, we believe every Texan deserves justice, no matter their financial situation. That's why we offer our no-win, no-fee promise. You don't pay us unless we win your case. We know how difficult recovering from an accident can be. Let us handle your case while you focus on getting better. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio, Austin, Texas.
Were you uninvited to game night? Do you play board games with the ferocious intensity of an iron-fisted oligarch? Have friends left game night asking, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Right now, during Mattress Firm's semi-annual sale and clearance, save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic, plus get a $300 instant gift. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
See website for details. Bills Happen is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, the credit card bill came and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by for a few weeks.
We should do what my brother did. He went to billshappen.com and got $3,000 the next day.
With our bad credit, I don't think so.
Billshappen.com is different. They are one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope, my brother said it was easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. Billshappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to billshappen.com, and we will have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to billshappen.com. That's billshappen.com. Billshappen.com.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Texas Longhorns.
Inconceivable! 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 You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Wow, it's about to mean a lot of different things. Trust me on this for inconceivable. The first thing that there were a couple of stories first that I wanted to get to. And the first of these goes all the way back to the World Series. I don't know if you heard about what has since happened to, remember the two dudes at Yankee Stadium who grabbed Mookie Betts' arm when he went in for the foul ball and they got, kicked out. And there were a lot of Yankee fans that applauded them, thinking they were heroes for what they did when he pulled the ball out of his glove and interfered with that. It was like, how ridiculous can you be? Well, MLB agrees finally. The Yankees had kicked them out for the rest of the game and the rest of the World Series. But now Major League Baseball has gone one step further. They have been banned from attending games at all big league ballparks indefinitely.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, was it worth it to pry open Mookie's glove to knock them? They didn't even get the ball, did they? Didn't it pop out?
Oh, I don't remember.
Or
I don't think so.
And then they had they gave their seats up. Their seats were then reassigned to a kid with an illness and things like that. So that part of it was heartwarming for that, but they got rid of them on that. Okay. I'm not going to say that Linda thought of you when this story came up, but she knew you would appreciate it because she understands that you appreciate a good Florida man story like I do, correct?
Of course.
Well, this involves more than Florida man. It involves Florida woman. And we didn't get to do a Florida man thing Friday because we didn't have a show Friday. So it's okay to do a little catch up here, especially when you have a story like this. Headline: Florida woman pooped on a Family Dollar floor as accomplice ironically stole $500 worth of cleaning products.
Oh, as a distraction? The decoy?
Exactly.
Oh, that's ingenious.
Yeah. So, as they say, delete things. She was a solid number 2. A Florida couple is on the run following a disgusting shoplifting spree that involved a woman intentionally pooping on the floor of a Family Dollar store while her accomplice fled the store with a shopping cart full of hundreds of dollars in cleaning products. So the suspects were a man and a woman. They played different roles as they conspired in their retail theft, according to Sheriff Grady Judd in Polk County, Florida, as he says, very different roles. Police said the accused shoplifters walked into the Family Dollar store in Mulberry, Florida, and they proceeded to stock their cart with nearly $500 worth of merchandise, including Gain, Tide, and Clorox products. The woman then distracted employees by dropping trowel and dropping a deuce on the floor as her hooded conspirator calmly strolled past the cash registers with his overloaded carts. I also see like a case of natural ice beer on there too. The man was captured on store surveillance, rushing out of the retailer as his gnarly excreta could be seen walking out the front door with a smirk on her face as the employees looked on. Employees were left cleaning up the mess, and they took off in a white Ford van. I have so many questions here. The alleged bandits are now being referred to as Mr. Clean and Ms. Dookie. It's true.
Ms. Dookie.
Ms. Dookie. I mean, did nobody see her, was it at the end of an aisle? Was it like an end cap, right down by the end of the aisle where she was, going number 2? Nobody stop and say, hey, we got a bathroom right in the back?
I think people are like, going number 2 is such a weird thing. I don't think human beings really know how to handle that. So if someone does that in public, I think everyone just stops. It'll just stop time.
But I also wonder about the bandits. How did they time that with her excremental bodily function? Did she take X-Lax? Did they just plan to do this when it was time for her to have to go, number 2? Okay, here's Family Dollar. Boom. Didn't see Dollar Tree, but here's Family Dollar. Let's go in here since you're ready to go. You ready to go? You ready?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. And
they probably went and got like a venti Starbucks before.
Yeah. There you go.
I'll clear you out.
I mean, I can understand why. I can understand why employees might miss the dude going out. I mean, they're completely shocked by what she was doing. But and by the way, this happened on December 18th. They still haven't caught them.
So it works. There you go.
That's been almost a month.
So if you're
looking for Mr. Clean and Ms. Dookie. So just understand. Okay. That was planned.
It's going to be in a movie script soon.
Yeah, you're probably right. Or reality TV thing.
Mm-hmm. Bandits 2, but instead Billy Bob Thornton drops a deuce.
Instead of the sticky bandits, they're the stinky bandits.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That was obviously planned out. What I did yesterday, and I did not involve a number 2, but what I did was not planned. People who had followed what I'd been doing over the past few days, obviously, there was the football game, but it's, it goes all the way back to the Tuesday basketball game against Auburn. And Wednesday, I had picked up a rental SUV for transport back and forth Arlington and taking people and broadcast equipment, things like that up to Arlington for the Cotton Bowl game. So I was up there, was driving that SUV throughout the course of the rest of the week. I came back on Saturday morning for the basketball game Saturday. It was not due to return the SUV until today because of the weekend. So I drove it to the airport yesterday morning after doing the men's game Saturday. I had a 6:15 a.m. flight yesterday morning to Charlotte, North Carolina. Flew there, got out, got another rental car. That was to drive from Charlotte to Columbia, 90 miles away, to do the women's basketball game at South Carolina. All that worked out. It was a little tight on time because of the traffic getting into and out of around the arena, but it worked. Did the basketball game. Basketball game ends. Then the plan is for me to drop off that rental car at the charter terminal to fly home with the women's basketball team, which I did. I got a little distracted when I was in the terminal, and I remember walking up with the paperwork. And then later, as I started to get on the plane, I thought, did I leave the keys with them too? I know I left the paper. Yeah, I must have. I'm sure I did. So I sit down in my seat, and we're a few minutes away from takeoff. The managers are still loading the bags on for the women's basketball team. And then I turn on the side and I feel something against, and I start to pull out, and there's a key fob with the name of the rental company, and all of a sudden this cold sweat runs up. It's, oh no, I'm leaving the keys to the rental behind. So I race up to the front of the plane. I get it to a flight attendant. She gets it to women's basketball ops personnel. The key gets dropped at the gate or at the counter. I settle back in the seat. Whew, big relief. It was about the time we took off when I realized, no, I did give them the keys. So what keys did I just now leave? Oh, no. It was the keys to the SUV that I got the other day that I was to have returned this morning. There were
different set of keys.
There were a couple different set of keys. Both had the name of the same rental company on the tag. That's what threw me off. I saw the name of the rental company and went, oh no, I can't fly home with the keys. No, I flew home without the keys to the rental that I parked at ABIA, where it is still parked right now. Like I said, dumbassery on my part. Now, I've been in contact, went up to the rental place this morning, and they've contacted the one in Columbia. They have the keys. They're going to be overnighted back. All's well is going to end well, but it's just one of those stupid travel stories that happens to me on occasion. So, yeah. For those of you who talk about, man, you get around, you do this and that, not without side effects sometime, collateral damage. Such was the case here. All right, we'll be back to wrap up hour number 1 on AM 1300 The Zone.
Harge and Henry, the morning kickoff, weekdays at 7.
Hardball Harge here, and I'm here to tell you about a few things Twin Peaks does really well. Let's start with the lunch combos. Step your lunch game up with light yet hearty combos put together starting for you at $7.99, featuring savory soups, crisp salads, and a variety of sandwiches to satisfy your every craving. No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, tequila cocktails, rare bourbons, and cocktails made and served over ice balls. And don't forget about their 29-degree drafts. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
Allison Griffin, head of marketing at State Farm.
iHeart has such a broad broadcast reach that is local, and for us to be able to touch customers with a local feel but at a national scale is so efficient and important for us.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, trusted influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Ready to roll into the new year with a brand new ride? Skip the hassle and hidden fees with the other guys. Get a real deal at Steele, Hyundai, and Kyle. Like $7,000 off MSRP on all 2024 Palisades, Sonata Limiteds, and Santa Cruz Limiteds. Steele's unparalleled lineup of vehicles are backed by America's Best Warranty with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and owner's assurance. SteeleHyundaiKyle.com.
Monster BTK, the latest installment of the critically acclaimed Monster franchise, exposes the chilling story of one of America's most infamous cases that shook Wichita, Kansas to its core.
When people said BTK, you think of a wild-eyed Manson-like character. What we didn't understand is he was the guy next door.
Listen to Monster BTK on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Monster BTK to start listening.
When you're injured in an accident, you shouldn't have to face it alone. At Thomas J. Henry, your fight is our fight. You will have a dedicated legal team fighting for your best interest every step of the way. We've given over $1 billion to our clients in just the past 4 years and have earned more than 12,000 five-star reviews on Google. Trust the firm that fights for you. Trust Thomas J. Henry. San Antonio, Austin, Texas.
Using a Clorox disinfecting wipe to clean that stuck-on sauce from the stove feels like...
Oh, boy. That tickles. Stop.
It feels like coming home to your needy corgi after a long day.
Best part of the day, finally.
With Clorox, clean feels carefree. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Flu season is here and Randall's has got you covered. The Randall's in-store pharmacy is offering free flu vaccines with most insurance plans. Plus, get 10% off your groceries when you get an immunization at Randall's. Go to randalls.com or check out the app for more details.
It's just like my car radio on my phone.
Adding presets is so much fun. Join the millions already on the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Seeing lyrics in the app is incredible.
It's so easy to use.
Nice job, iHeart.
Find out what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, Price Lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
Earl Campbell here for my good friends at Austin Shoe Hospital. Austin Shoe Hospital has been repairing my favorite boots and shoes for over 30 years. They are the best Western boot repair company in Texas and can repair any boot brand or style. Visit the master cobblers at Austin Shoe Hospital and they will bring all your shoes, boots, and bags back to life. If you can wear it, they can repair it. Oh, yes, and hook 'em horns.
Visit AustinShoeHospital.com.
Get the Apple Leasing Advantage today. Visit AppleLeasing.com. That's AppleLeasing.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. Our blood runs orange. Welcome back to the Craig Way Show and the voice of the Longhorns, Craig Way. Follow Craig on social media at Horn Voice.
Never let it be said I don't go to the text line and read your text, so we'll do that. You know, as long as things are respectable, we can do that. Somebody said, please, full stop on how well Texas played this season. Don't forget it was against a weak SEC schedule. How did they play against top competition? The offensive line underperformed all season long. Okay, let me go in reverse order. First of all, you're flat dead wrong about the offensive line underperformed all season long. If they underperformed all season long, they would not have won 13 games even against a quote-unquote weak SEC schedule. Okay, so we'll agree to disagree on that. How did they play against top competition? Played well, didn't win the game against Georgia in overtime in the SEC, did not play well against them, certainly in the first half, in the first game, and played well against the team that may well win the national championship, Ohio State. They're on the 1 yard line, down 7, and 2 minutes to go. Would you say that's not playing well against them to that point? Didn't win, and you know, that's ultimately the goal on that. But you're asking, how did they play against top competition? They're in the ball game with Ohio State down inside with 2 minutes to go in the game. So you please, full stop. Okay? Consider all of it. And again, that's my point on all of this. Just consider all of it. It wasn't that long ago when we were talking about this team winning 8 games. Oh, they got to an Alamo Bowl. 7 games. Yeah, they got the 9 wins. They've gone 12-2 and 13-2. I don't care if you're playing air. 12-2 and 13-2. They've gone 25-5. The point is this. They're on the ascent, and all the national analysts are saying it. And if you, as an angry Longhorn fan, or maybe you're not even a fan of Texas, you're just wanting to say that, and that's okay if you want to do that. But I'm certainly going to disagree with you on that. Somebody else, what happened to the post-game show after a second consecutive Texas semifinal loss in the CFP? What does that mean?
I think because we had issues with the satellites over the weekend.
Oh, okay. All right. Did some of the post-game show get lost in the
yeah.
Okay. There were satellite issues, and apparently not just here in Austin. It happened also
Houston, San Antonio.
Yeah. So there were satellite issues on that. So anyway, so there you are. With some things there, and we'll continue to, I'm looking at some, we get to look at posts from earlier today with Mike Hardball Harge from the morning kickoff And there's a lot of Quinn Ewers support on this. Somebody said with all the social media platform hate, Quinn was a rock solid individual, best to him in the NFL. Other people are saying that as well. So, and I agree with that. Somebody asked me if I thought that Quinn was the most underappreciated quarterback that Texas had in a long time. I said probably since Chris Sims. A lot of folks are teed off on Chris Sims, and you go back and look at the numbers and a lot of what he did. He had a heck of a career, and that was a guy who was a quarterback of a team. The last time that Texas played in the Cotton Bowl, Sims was the quarterback of the team. So there's some commonality involved there. But even when Chris was playing, he did not have this team as close to playing for a national championship as Quinn Ewers. And in the bottom line, whatever you want to say about weak SEC schedule, here's the bottom line. The inescapable reality is twofold. One, that they were within a whisker back-to-back years of being able to play for a national championship. No matter what you want to say about the bottom line is they're inside the 10-yard line in back-to-back years in the semifinal with the national championship. Part of that inescapable reality, they didn't pull it off. And you certainly can't deny that. They didn't finish it. But they're getting closer and giving themselves an opportunity, which a few years ago, we couldn't even fathom that. When you're talking about, 5-7, 7-6, 8-5, all of those kinds of things. That's why this team is trending upward, whether you want to get past your frustration about what happened the other night or not. Or if you're not a fan of the program and you just want to say it was overblown and this and that, that's okay too. It's right as a fan. But there are some realities that you need to keep in mind. Second hour of the program coming up right here. Sports Radio AM 1300. I got Radio app.
Take the guesswork out of buying and selling your home with Orchard. Will your home sell in time? Which upgrades are worth it? Can you keep your home show ready with your busy life? Orchard has all the answers. With Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program, you can buy your new home before selling the old one. It's simple. Orchard gives you the equity advance, unlocking cash to buy your new home first. That's right. You don't have to wait for your old place to sell. You can move in right away. No more rushing out for showings and constant cleaning because Orchard sells your home after you get settled into your new home. Orchard even handles repairs and improvements at no out-of-pocket cost to you. Their local pros know which upgrades bring you the most money. So sell your home for top dollar. Buy before you sell and skip the selling hassles at Orchard. Start with your free home evaluation at orchard.com. That's orchard.com.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again. Because more people are listening to the radio on iHeart today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeart Broadcast Radio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, social, any other media, even twice as many teens than TikTok. Think radio can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, podcasting, and radio. Let us show you at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com. Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as large as the next two combined. So whatever your customers listen to, they'll hear your message. Plus, only iHeart can extend your message to audiences across broadcast radio. Think podcasting can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, radio, and podcasting. Let us show you at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Hi, welcome to IKEA. How can I help you?
My schedule is crazy. I just want some me time.
We could all use a sanctuary from stress. Why not turn your bedroom into the place to decompress with our selection of comfortable beds, pillows, decor, mood lighting, and so much more? Every time you step in there, it's nothing but me time. I mean, you time.
Sounds like a dream.
Here to make your me time dreams come true. Visit us in-store or at ikea-usa.com/sleep to create a comfy, blissful bedroom today.
When it comes to making fantasy picks on your favorite players, you want excitement, but you also want a platform you can trust. Better Picks is available in over 30 states, so if you're hearing this, it's probably available for you.
Better Picks is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Just pick more or less on your favorite player stats and put your skills to the test.
With Better Picks, you get the thrill of playing for up to 2,000 times your cash. So go ahead, make your picks and play for big wins with super fast payouts and withdrawals.
Go to betterpicks.com, BETRpicks.com, or download Better on the app or Play Store and use promo code RADIO to play for up to 2,000 times your cash. Plus, new users get up to a $200 match on their first deposit and join thousands playing across the U.S.
Must be 21 or older and in a jurisdiction where Better Picks operates. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned with your play? Call the NCPG at 1-800-522-4700.
The Home Depot's new supply house is built for one job, to deliver yours. No cart, all flatbed. And more than a store, our supply house comes to you. Get the whole job delivered as soon as next day from the Home Depot. How pros get more done.
Insurance sold by Smart Bunny Insurance Services, Inc., underwritten by various insurers. Coverage exclusions and limitations may apply.
Hey, John, Mom told me you had a flood in your apartment.
Yeah, tons of my stuff is ruined.
You had renter's insurance, right?
No.
Just get the Smart Bunny app and get up to $40,000 of personal property coverage with policies starting at just $15 a month.
I could have saved so much money if I'd had coverage from Smart Bunny Insurance. I'm downloading the app now.
Smart Bunny. Smart Bunny.
An accident can leave you struggling to pay for medical bills. At Thomas J. Henry, we believe you deserve justice, no matter your financial situation. That's why you don't pay us unless we win your case. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio and Austin, Texas.
From the Audiovisual Consultation Studio, this is KDET AM Austin, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, an iHeart radio station and your home for the Horns. He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
Second hour of the program here on AM 1300 The Zone. Craig Way alongside the producer, Cameron Parker. Glad to have you with us. And a lot to get to. More, obviously, on the Longhorn season. We'll hear from Rodney Terry with regard to Longhorn basketball and a couple other interesting takes on pro football, including the change that is apparently not only imminent, but I guess you might say not only imminent, but official with regard to Mike McCarthy. He is not going to return as the Cowboys head coach in 2025. Jerry Jones made that announcement today. They had that exclusive negotiating window with him until tomorrow at midnight, but he said over the past week, Mike and I had the opportunity to conduct a joint review of all aspects of the past season, our players and staff, and also spent considerable time discussing the road forward for the team. These discussions were thorough and received an appropriate amount of time and depth to cover. Prior to reaching the point of contract negotiations, though it became mutually clear that it would be better for each of us to head in a different direction, I thank Mike and I wish him, his wife Jessica, and their family the best. They've been a wonderful part of our community here. And Jones added, the Cowboys will begin the search for the next head coach immediately. So I know what you're thinking, and many Cowboy fans, why did it take this long and get to this point?
Never even should have hired him in the first place. But also, A lot of this is the blame on Jerry Jones in the front office. I mean, Mike McCarthy was set up to fail this season. The roster got worse. They did not put any more money into it. Their big free agency acquisition was Eric Kendricks, a linebacker past his prime, who was signed just because of his relationship with Mike Zimmer in the Vikings. Injuries did not help. Of course, Dak Prescott going down. Trevon Diggs was injured. Deron Bland got injured before. Offensive line had issues. I mean, my biggest concern going into the season, Craig, was you bring back McCarthy, but nothing else changed in terms of the roster. The roster got worse. The coaching, I don't think it really changed much going from Dan Quinn to Mike Zimmer. I don't think Zimmer had the right personnel on this team that he would like to have had. I mean, this roster was kind of built for Dan Quinn and his defense, and I think we saw that throughout the year. The Cowboys' defense was all right, and then, of course, on the offensive end, the running back room may be the worst running back room in NFL history. Their big move was to sign Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook. I don't know if Dalvin Cook even got a carry for Dallas this season. Zeke ended up getting cut so he could join the Chargers, who got eliminated by the Houston Texans. Shout out to the Houston Texans. Congratulations on a playoff victory. So all of this, I joke about Mike McCarthy, and I don't think he was the right hire at all, but also the front office let him down as well. So it remains to be seen who this next head coach is, but he's going to have a tough task because it does appear the Cowboys had the same plan going into this offseason as they did last season, which is we're not going to spend money. We're going to cut corners. We're going to hope that some of the players that, we drafted are going to be able to turn into Pro Bowlers and develop them. And sure, that's good. But, when you have a season like this where injuries start to mount up and all of a sudden your depth is being tested and guys who shouldn't be starting on the NFL level are starting, it's reflected when your team is getting blown out constantly each week.
You said that Mike McCarthy was set up to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Who was more set up to fail, Mike McCarthy or Gerard Mayo?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I would say Cowboys definitely, I think, have a better roster than
And Mayo
Gerard
had
Mayo.
Mayo had never been a head coach.
Yeah, but Mayo was put in a spot, and even Robert Kraft admitted he was put in a spot where he was he was not going to succeed. He was obviously not ready to be a head coach. That's for sure. I think McCarthy at least took Dallas to the playoffs a couple times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never got a playoff win though. But for Mayo, I mean, the Patriots were just awful, and the coaching was awful. But Cowboys had a better roster, so that's a good question.
Okay, let me hit you with this follow-up. Who is better suited to, at this point on January 13th, who is better suited to have a better 2025 season? The Patriots with Mike Vrabel or the Cowboys with head coach to be named?
I think the Patriots. I think Vrabel's going to get in there, and he's going to clean that place up pretty quickly. I think Drake May is going to have a fantastic second season. If Vrabel can hire the right offensive coordinator, and they go after, like, say, I don't know, T. Higgins. They got a top 10 draft pick. We'll see if they go skill player, offensive line, maybe defense. I mean, I think with the Cowboys roster, they're still good enough to be a playoff team. Maybe not the Patriots, but I would trust the Patriots and Mike. I mean, Mike Vrabel turned Tennessee around quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Led them to an AFC championship game with Ryan Tannehill,
right,
at quarterback. And their defense was phenomenal. And just unfortunately for the Titans, they made a brain dead move by moving on for him. And I don't think him and the GM got along very well. But I think Vrabel, if he can win in Tennessee, he can win in New England. I would just say New England.
Okay. All right. So it begs this question, and I also can open it up on the text line for those who have questions about this. Who would you want to see be the Cowboys' next head coach? And I'll offer that up. You want to throw it in on the text line, you can do it. All you have to do is text the word Texas, followed by your opinion on who the Cowboys' next head coach should be. And, you text it to 81530. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. Anybody just leap off the page at you?
Unfortunately, they've all been hired.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick.
That's why I asked the question.
Sean Payton.
Yeah.
I would have loved those guys. Mike Vrabel, would have loved him as well. Out of the guys remaining, I think you got to have a head coach who understands the Cowboys circus. So I wouldn't be opposed to Deion Sanders just because I think he understands the media circus very well, and he knows Jerry Jones very well and that family. Jason Witten, I know he knows it. Again, it concerns me going from private school to the NFL.
Yeah.
Now maybe he makes the right hires defensively and offensively in terms of coordinator spots. I would not want to see Kellen Moore as the next head coach.
Even though he's got NFL assistant coaching experience, which the other two guys do not have.
He does, but he also has a fantastic offensive line, a top 2 running back in Saquon Barkley, a top 5 receiver in A.J. Brown, and he's got Dallas Goedert, who was phenomenal yesterday, and Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. So I don't, I think the thing with a lot of these coordinator position, Craig, is like, oh, go ahead and hire Ben Johnson. Go ahead and hire this OC or that OC. Look how good their offense was. Well, also look at how good their roster was too. Like the thing that worries me about Ben Johnson and hiring him from Detroit is Detroit's got a fantastic offensive line, a great quarterback who can manage the game well, and then you got fantastic skill players. So if you go from something like that to a different team who might not be as talented, will there be a big drop off? That concerns me. Like if Ben Johnson went from the Detroit offense to Las Vegas offense, I don't think it would work out well. But going back to your answer, it's tough, Craig. I think I think these who I want and who Jerry's going to hire is going to be vastly different.
Sure, that's why I asked you, because we know Jerry's going to probably do something different.
I wouldn't mind Ben Johnson. I think with CeeDee Lamb and Dak.
Well, as long as you're talking to Detroit, what about Aaron Glenn?
Yeah.
Is he not ready for the next step? There are those who say he is, based on what he's done, and there are those who say he's no better than Todd Bowles.
You can argue that. It depends on.
And Todd Bowles, of course, had a nice season with Tampa Bay, but it ended last night with an unexpected home playoff loss to Washington. So, is it because of that? As he hit the ceiling? Here's another thing. Mike Tomlin. There are folks who say he's gone stale and it's worn out in Pittsburgh. He's not had a losing season, but it's been a long time since he's had him make a deep run in the playoffs. So this was a piece of sound from, I guess it was from yesterday's NFL Today programming, and or Fox NFL Sunday. And it's Terry Bradshaw and Jimmy Johnson and Michael Strahan, right? And they're talking about this Cowboys situation, and they're talking about Pittsburgh as well. Listen to this conversation from these guys talking about a theory that Jimmy would have about Pittsburgh and Dallas.
Houston, I can't get over the game last night when you saw the Baltimore Ravens beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers now lost 5 straight games. I mean, that's just unheard of. Defense was horrible. Couldn't stop the run. Couldn't stop the pass. Couldn't do anything right last night. And honestly, Jimmy, I'd have to go to you. You can't lose playoff games. This doesn't look anything like the Steelers teams we've seen.
Yeah, Terry, now, I've got no inside information, but, things are stale in Pittsburgh. Things are stale in Dallas. And just food for thought. How about a coaching swap? Mike McCarthy's a Pittsburgh guy. Let him go to Pittsburgh. Let Mike Tomlin go to Dallas. Both franchises would be excited.
But then the only problem is, you said they're both stale, but one continues to make the playoffs and the other one doesn't. That's not stale.
Hey, I'll tell you,
one's having more success.
Michael.
All right, that's not entirely true. The Cowboys were the number 2 seed last year in the playoffs, number 2 in the NFC. Now, they got beaten the first round by Green Bay, so this thing about continuing to not make the playoffs is not correct. That's why I've always said that when Longhorn fans gripe about this, make sure you have your facts in order and correct before you take shots off of that. Understand, and don't, in the case of Strahan, he's doing it, obviously for a television program. What would you think about Mike Tomlin if Pittsburgh was tired of him? Would you want him in Dallas?
I love Mike Tomlin, but I don't think he could mesh with Jerry Jones. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I know. So there was that. Okay, and by the way, I heard this sound this morning when I was driving around and running some errands, like running over to the rental car place and all that. And I heard Mike Harbaugh play that piece of sound, and that's why I wanted to re-air it. If you were listening to the morning kickoff, you heard Mike run it, and then Harge also did this one. This had me laughing. This is Rex Ryan, who still believes he has a shot to be the Jets head coach, I guess, for some reason. And he was asked about Vrabel taking the New England job.
The coach of the year in 2021. He's 49 years old, will be 50 when next season begins. Rex, what's your reaction?
Hey, man, I mean, hopefully I get to kick this guy's ass twice a year. I don't know what you're talking about. Just kidding.
Them Jets, huh?
I'm just kidding, buddy.
maybe your team.
Yeah, not my team, yes, but not me personally.
Mike Vrabel is.
Not him personally. I don't think he could take Mike Vrabel if he went one-on-one against him. I don't think he could. Off of that. All right, we'll get some more of your submissions. Again, you have a suggestion. Who would you want to see as the Cowboys head coach? All right, we'll talk more about that. We're also going to hear from Rodney Terry, Texas men's basketball coach. We got a lot to get to still here on the program on AM 1300 The Zone.
Harge and Henry, the morning kickoff, tomorrow at 7.
Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone has your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Check. That's check. Enter it now at am1300thezone.com.
AM 1300 The Zone.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, price lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
Using a Clorox disinfecting wipe to clean that stuck-on sauce from the stove feels like...
Oh, boy. It tickles. Stop.
It feels like coming home to your needy corgi after a long day.
Best part of the day, finally.
With Clorox, clean feels carefree. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
You turned your dating app for pets into a business, which just turned over its first billion. You turned around the fortunes of a failing football club. Politely turned down a Nobel Peace Prize. And turned up on Mars in your own reusable rocket. All while struggling to turn on the dishwasher. There's more to imagine when you listen. Discover business development titles on Audible.
The other day, I was having lunch with a buddy of mine, and he said, I think I'm going to get a new car. He's going to trade in the car that he has and get into something brand new. And he's like, where do I start? And I said, well, that's pretty easy. Here's what you do. Just call Apple Leasing. I gave him the number, which is 346-9977. Told him the website, which is appleleasing.com. And then I told him, they'll get you anything that you want. No matter make, no matter model, they'll get it for you with one phone call. And they've been doing it in Austin for over 30 years. I told them I've been leasing cars from Apple Leasing for over 20 years. One of the reasons I love to lease a car from Apple Leasing, one, the payment. Yeah, the payment when you lease a car is oftentimes a lot less than if you were to finance that exact same car. And I love the latest and greatest technology in new cars. And I love the warranty. The car's under warranty during the lease, so there's no surprise repair bills. Call Apple Leasing 346-9977.
See website for details. Bills Happen is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, the credit card bill came and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by for a few weeks.
We should do what my brother did. He went to billshappen.com and got $3,000 the next day.
With our bad credit, I don't think so.
Billshappen.com is different. They are one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope, my brother said it was easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. Billshappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Great news. I went to billshappen.com, and we will have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
I love it. Join the millions already on the new and improved iHeartRadio app. It's so easy to use. The live radio dial, presets, scan, plus lyrics, podcasts, and your favorite artist's radio.
Just type it in, and there it is.
Now it's even easier to discover what you love.
I love my presets. Adding presets is so much fun.
This looks really nice. Just in time for the new year, the new and improved iHeartRadio app. It's everything you love about your car radio in the palm of your hand.
Very cool update. 5 stars, guys.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like iHeartRadio Cafe, mellow classic rock, and the greatest singer-songwriters of all time.
Take it easy.
Billy Joel, Carly Simon, James Taylor, Elton John, Carole King, and more.
Sing us a song, you're the piano man.
Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search iHeartRadio Cafe, and listen now.
iHeartRadio.
Free never sounded so good.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, covering the 40 acres. We're back. It's the Craig Way Show with Hall of Fame broadcaster and voice of the Texas Longhorns, Craig Way.
With you on a Monday afternoon here on AM 1300, The Zone. When I was engaged in the text exchange with the texter, who said on how well Texas played this season against the weak SEC schedule, the bottom line is to try to win the games. And if they won all of the other games that they played, they still, they won 13 games. It's going to be good. How else would you characterize it? They played the games on their schedule. They won the games on the schedule. Anyway, the reason I was responding to that, and then somebody else said, just texted in, said the chances that your team actually wins a championship are low. So you have to enjoy the ride. It's part of being a fan. It could be so much worse. I couldn't agree more. And if you've been a fan for some time, you know this. No matter what team you root for, but for the purposes of this conversation, you'd have to do it as that. I mean, you were a student at Texas, and you were a student at Texas when things were not so great on the football field, right?
You could say that, Craig. First year was Texas is back. Shout out Joe Tess when they were, in fact, not back. And then, of course, 5 and 7. I was there through Tom Herman's tenure as well. And highlighted.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing about Tom Herman. He had 4 seasons here, did not have a losing record, and won 4 bowl games.
Mm-hmm.
But the high water mark was that one New Year's 6 Sugar Bowl win over Georgia. That was it. And before then, it's Alamo Bowls. There's a Texas Bowl and an Alamo Bowl, and there's other Alamo Bowl. I mean, it didn't plateau the way this has and crescendoed the last 2 years is my point.
And I think people forget too, Craig, that not to strip anything away from that team, because that was a fantastic team that did beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, and they were the better team. But they also got into that Sugar Bowl because Oklahoma got an automatic bid into the college football playoff. Texas would have been, I think, likely, Craig, either playing in the Alamo Bowl or maybe they would have been in the Alamo Bowl that year, if not for the Oklahoma winning the Big 12. So there you go.
So I think that's the perspective point that I was trying to make about here. Remember where they were pretty recently. I'm not talking 2 decades ago or whatever. I'm talking about within the last 6-7 years and leading up to when Sark took over. So I'm just saying, bear that in mind as you try to evaluate not only this season, but what's happened in the past 2 years where this team has gone 25-5, won a conference championship, been in the Final Four 2 years in a row, and beat 2 conference champions in the playoffs this year.
Knocking on the door. Sark has Texas knocking on the door. And you can nitpick and go back to the 2 failed drives, one against Washington and one against Ohio State, but also Texas is right there. And it's not like, Craig, that it's going away anytime soon. The way Sark has built this program up and the way he's recruited and used the transfer portal and brought in his coaches, Texas is in a fantastic spot to be right back there again next season and the year after that and going forward.
Okay. A couple of things on the text line. Somebody said, let's get Sark for Dallas. Someone had to say it. I hope that's not the case. And I agree. I don't think Jerry Jones is Sark's kind of guy. That's just me. But is Sark good enough, qualified enough, I think, to coach in the NFL? Of course I do. But I hope he doesn't. Hope he sticks around.
I think we would have known by now, Craig, if he was wanting to get back into the NFL.
Yeah.
Considering that we've already heard stuff about Deion's camp reaching out to the Raiders, we have not heard anything about that from Sark. NFL is a completely different animal, and the Cowboys are in their own different tier, as we already have covered on this program many times.
Somebody said, what happened the night before last? We were talking about I think the satellite dropout. Said I tried listening on my portable radio, one of the radio stations in Austin, but couldn't. And my driver tried to pick you up on one of the stations in Dallas, but could not find you either. Now, we were on 1080 a.m. in Dallas on KRLD, but they could well have been afflicted by the same satellite issues that happened there intermittently that happened during the Cotton Bowl and then during the postgame show as well. And I would say that might have been what you encountered with some satellite issues. I'm not 100% certain about that, but that's possible that it could be that. All right. With Longhorn basketball, Texas, of course, has played 2 close games against the number 2 and number 1 team in the country, but they didn't win either game. And in the post game on Saturday against Tennessee, I was talking about those 2 games, the 5-point loss to Auburn, number 2 in the country, and the 4-point loss to number 1 Tennessee. Now, Tennessee has since dropped out of the number 1 spot after losing to Florida a few nights prior to that. But it was 2 close calls against 2 really good teams. First time Texas had ever played number 2 in the country and number 1 in the country on back-to-back games. And in the evaluation of it, I referred to it as a gut punch, and then I stopped myself. Talked about the gut punch last time, and I said I might be feeling a little PTSD. I said from last night, meaning Friday night in Arlington, with gut punches because of the way it went down. Disappointing, yes, and trying to build off that going to Oklahoma. So Rodney Terry was asked first and foremost on a couple of injury updates. We knew on Saturday that Kendall Weaver was going to be out indefinitely. In fact, Rodney mentioned it on Longhorn Weekly, which we recorded on Wednesday night, and it aired on Thursday night last week. Now we're back into a regular Thursday night live 6 o'clock at Pluckers mode. And so this Thursday night at 6 o'clock will be live from Pluckers at 6 o'clock, the West Campus location at 2222 Rio Grande. And in the show on last week, Rodney said coming out of that Auburn game, that's when Kendall Weaver hurt his hip area. It's like a hip flexor thing, and they put an indefinite tag on it because they don't know how long it could be. Could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending. It's kind of almost like that oblique thing. You just don't know. The only thing that can heal it is rest and then eventually some flexibility exercise things. And Warren Young, the team trainer, and Darby Rich, the strength coach, they'll work with him on that. But he's out indefinitely. And then Tremont Mark got banged up, but came back into the ballgame. So the first question that went to Rodney Terry this morning on the media Zoom was, how about updates on Kendall Weaver and Tremont Mark? And if they aren't able to play against Oklahoma, how will this affect the rotation?
Tremont was back in practice today and had a really good practice for us today. So we look for him to be pretty much full tilt come Wednesday night. Warren did a great job with him yesterday in the recovery and rehabbing and all that good stuff. Kendall Weaver will not be available still. He's sustained an injury. It's going to take a little time to get him back, 100%. In regards to playing other young players, I do like the way our young guys are practicing and competing. So there's always an opportunity for guys that suit up and dress for us, on every game day. So there's opportunity, I think, at all times for all of our guys. We expect all of our guys to be ready to play.
Okay. Next, Ronnie was asked what he's learned about his team, the way they were competitive and had opportunities to win both games, but did not win either game.
Well, I think the thing that we talked about over the last two games, one, if you go back to the Tennessee game, we really valued taking care of the basketball really well. I mean, we had 5 turnovers in that game against the number 1 defensive team in the country. And when you're going into that game, they would do a great job making it kind of a grind out game where you had to value taking care of the basketball and you had to have a physical mindset. Rick Barnes' teams have always been good rebounding teams. When you're going into that game, that we were going to have to try to limit their second chance opportunities. And in this league, for that matter, over the course of the 3 games, we've had to really try to work hard at trying to limit other teams' second chance opportunities. Just the physicality when that ball goes up on the glass, that's when the game is on. It's the game within the game. And I think that's where we've kind of had our shortcomings a little bit in giving teams opportunities for second chance. But our guys have, been excited about trying to get better with it. I mean, we work almost every day that we have an opportunity to have a physical practice. We work really hard at trying to get better with our blockouts and finishing possessions with physical blockouts. But that's been the toughest part there. I thought we won the 50-50 game against Tennessee. We were first to the floor. We played, Texas competitive basketball in terms of trying to win that part of the game. And I think we've improved in that area from the first game of conference play. I thought Texas A&M got every 50-50 ball at third place. And again, it's the game within the game. It's the battles within the battle of the game that really in games like this have really been the deciding factor in the games.
All right. We're going to hear some more from Rodney. We need a break. When we come back, we'll hear some more from Rodney Terry talking about this Texas team as they get ready to leave tomorrow for Norman, Oklahoma, and they have a 9 o'clock tip-off, 9 p.m. Central Time tip-off from the Lloyd Noble Center against OU. We'll hear more from RT coming up on AM 1300 The Zone.
Take the guesswork out of buying and selling your home with Orchard. Will your home sell in time? Which upgrades are worth it? Can you keep your home show ready with your busy life? Orchard has all the answers. With Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program, you can buy your new home before selling your old one. It's that simple. Orchard gives you an equity advance, unlocking cash to buy your new home first. That's right. You don't have to wait for your old place to sell. You can move right in right away. And no more rushing out for showings and constant cleaning because Orchard sells your old home while you're moving into your new home. Orchard even handles repairs and improvements at no out-of-pocket cost to you. The local pros know which upgrades bring you the most money so you can sell for top dollar. Buy before you sell and skip the selling hassles with Orchard. Start with your free home valuation at orchard.com. That is orchard.com.
If you've been injured in an accident, you know there's no shortage of attorneys who want your business. But when it comes to results, the numbers speak for themselves. Thomas J. Henry secured over $1 billion for clients in the past 4 years. We've successfully represented thousands of injured Texans, earning over 12,000 5-star reviews on Google. So, who is the right attorney for you? Just look at the numbers. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio, Austin, Texas.
Hi, I'm Burt Ward, Robin from TV's Batman, inviting you to feed your dog natural, non-GMO, Gentle Giants dog and puppy food. Dogs eating Gentle Giants and following our special feeding and care program are living as long as 27 healthy, active years with a wonderful quality of life. Holy wow, 27 years! Think of all the extra years you could enjoy with your dog. At Petco, Stater Brothers, H-E-B, and more. Try Gentle Giants cat and kitten food, too.
88 unread emails? Okay. New credit card? Delete. Congratulations, you've just won. Goodbye. COVID-19 news and delete. Wait, learn about treatment options for COVID-19. No and go. Okay, kind of catchy. Know that oral prescription treatment options are available for COVID-19 if you're at high risk. And go see your doctor if you experience symptoms or test positive. and forwarding that to mom.
Talk to your pharmacist or doctor if you or a loved one gets COVID-19. Know and Go, sponsored by Pfizer.
AM 1300 The Zone occasionally holds contests. For more information about contests on this station, go to am1300thezone.com/rules.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Ready to roll into the new year with a brand new ride? Skip the hassle and hidden fees with the other guys. Get a real deal at Steele, Hyundai, and Kyle. Like $7,000 off MSRP on all 2024 Palisades, Sonata Limiteds, and Santa Cruz Limiteds. Steel's unparalleled lineup of vehicles are backed by America's best warranty with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and owner's assurance. SteelHyundaiKyle.com.
Second opinions.
You get them with your health.
So why not with your wealth?
Your stock market investments deserve a second opinion.
At Henyon & Walsh, it only takes a second
to schedule your free second opinion.
Go online and search for Henyon & Walsh, the second opinion people. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services provided by Henyon & Walsh Asset Management. Securities offered by Henyon & Walsh Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
All the good stuff. Yeah. Camps keeps you on top of pop culture.
The Average White Band performed their final show, but it'll be memorialized for the ages. The Grammy-nominated Scottish funk and R&B septet Swan Song will be the basis of Final Note, The Last Dance of Average White Band, from a director who's also prepping Soul Searching, a more far-reaching documentary about the band's history and legacy. They've enjoyed multiple chart toppers in the U.S. with 4 RIAA certified albums and is said to be the 15th most sampled band ever. The doc's Final Note, The Last Dance of Average White Band, and Soul Searching are both due out in 2025, the 50th anniversary of their first chart-topping AWB album and its #1 single, Pick Up the Pieces. All right. And that's what's poppin'. I'm Camps on iHeartRadio.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Horns. Back to the Craig Way Show. Connect with Craig through the text line by texting Texas to 81530, followed by your message. Standard message and data rates may apply.
What the man was saying was standard messaging and data rates may apply. That's what he was saying. If you want to text the program, always enjoy having you text the program. So that's cool. Whatever you want to hit us up with, I did open up and say, who would you want to be if you're a Cowboys fan? If you're not a Cowboys fan, you probably don't need to weigh in on that kind of thing, because this belongs to those long-suffering Cowboys fans like Cameron Parker. Cam, let me ask you this: you mentioned that when last week, and it was certainly understandable that Jerry Jones, when he refused to grant the Bears permission to interview Mike McCarthy, you said, and you weren't the only one, many, including myself, said, well, that probably means that he's going to keep Mike McCarthy. And then, you have to remember, Jerry exists on a totally different plane than us. He's kind of like, to borrow from Seinfeld, Bizarro Jerry, Bizarro Jerry Jones. So everybody thought he was going to keep Mike McCarthy. He's not going to keep Mike McCarthy. Now, at the time, last week, you said, that means I'm out again for all of 2025. So I put it to you, Cameron Dallas Parker. Does this depend on the hire as to whether you're back in on watching the Cowboys this season?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
So, if it's somebody you're not on board with, then you're not going to watch.
Like who? Give me a name.
You give me a name. Who would you?
If it's Kellen Moore,
yeah,
I might just check in
out of curiosity.
But I'm not going to be like all in, reading every single report in training camp.
Did you used to do that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
All
I
right.
even did it sometime this past summer, and then I kind of realized during the summer with the
That it was
the
an
roster,
exercise
like,
in futility.
this team's not going to be very good. We're
Okay.
talking about Ezekiel Elliott in training camp. So if it's someone like Dion or Belichick, somehow they pay that $10 million buyout to
That
get
won't
him out of
happen.
UNC.
That won't happen.
Then, we'll see how the offseason goes. But
Okay. Aaron Glenn?
depends on who his coordinator hires are.
Okay.
Guys like Aaron Glenn, it all depends on who they hire as like the offensive coordinator.
Okay. All right. All right. So anyway,
But I don't think Jerry's smart enough to hire a coordinator like that. If
Yeah.
it's Pete Carroll, I think I would be interested in it. But
Okay.
also Pete might just be past his prime. I don't know.
Okay, that's interesting. That'll be interesting to see if that indeed turns out.
Hey, Sark in Austin, Pete in Dallas,
a lot of
old
like-minded
mentors,
thinking. Yeah, all of that stuff. Let's hear a little more from Longhorns head coach Rodney Terry talking Texas basketball. Okay, a few minutes ago we heard him talk about Kendall Weaver's going to be out for a while. And I can tell you it's a hip flexor thing is what they're saying, or it's with that muscle there in the hip area.
That's what I have, Craig. Hip flexor issue.
Do you really?
Yeah, it sucks.
I didn't know you had that.
Remember when I was out for a
Yeah,
couple
but
days?
I thought that was your back.
Because of my hip flexor.
Oh wow.
Yeah. There's a
Okay.
reason why Kendall Weaver's on crutches.
Yeah.
If you heard that thing right, my Lord.
Yeah. So he's going to be out for a while. And Sark was asked if he takes on a bigger leadership role with regard to the team.
Yeah, Kendall's he's a big loss to our team. He's one of our toughest guys on the team. He's a guy that hangs his hat on making winning plays for us throughout the course of games and plays with the chip on his shoulder, their entire time doing it. I've asked him to stay engaged with our team and see the game through a coach's lens right now and try to help your players as you see the game through a coach's lens in terms of trying to help guys. 77 rebounds went out the door when Kendall's not playing for us. That's what he had to this point right now. And he's always one of those guys you can count on that can give you some really impactful and meaningful rebounds in key times. Who can emerge and do that for us right now at this time? I think we have a number of different guys that are more than capable of doing it. They've got to do it for us, though. Jason Kent has a great physical body. We need him to be a guy that rebounds the basketball for us and kind of takes up that slack a little bit. We need our big wings. We need Trayvon Marks to rebound down for us, and we need Trey to come down and get some rebounds as well. So those guys, I think by committee, we know that we hold Art and Caden to pretty high levels of trying to rebound for us. A lot of times they're dealing with some of the better rebounders, so they're really trying to hold their block out so other guys have opportunity to come down and get rebounds. So our guards have got to come down and help us rebound as well.
The thoughts from there on all the others who have to pitch in. He was also asked, how does he make sure that his message, and it's not just Rodney's message. If you've been around the team, as we have, that the entire coaching staff plays a part in this, plays a role in this. Steve McClain and Byron Jones and Brandon Chappelle and obviously Frank Haith with Darby Rich, the strength coach. They're all kind of pitching in terms of the support of what they have for the players and instruction and inspiring them and all that sort of thing. But Rodney was asked, how does he make sure that the message does not get lost to the players and that the guys stay on board despite the early stumbles in conference play?
Yeah, Bob, I think our whole approach is always about trying to encourage our guys to be everyday guys, and I think that starts with the top. It starts with myself. They see me coming in and I'm down and I'm moping and I'm not feeling great about what we're doing, then they're probably going to be the same way, but I like to pride myself in being the same guy, whether I'm winning, whether I'm losing. Okay, you're having a good day, you're having a bad day. I'm the same guy every day. So I don't ever get too high, I don't ever get too low. And I strongly encourage them to be that same way. And I'm a man of a lot of strong faith. I know God's never brought me this far to not be with me through good times and bad times. So, there's nothing you can't overcome. There's no obstacles in life that you can't overcome that's put in front of you if you have strong faith. And I encourage our guys to have strong faith and live by that every day, not just while you're here playing basketball at the University of Texas. You're going to have to do it in life. There's going to be a lot of adversity coming your way in life. But if you have strong faith and you're a believer, nothing you can't overcome and you can't push through with.
He was also asked that how much does that faith get tested and how challenging it is right now with so many injuries popping up and down from before the season to early in the season to right now.
Yeah, it's not easy, but that's team sports, and that's why you have a team. They're going to be guys go down and next man mentality where the next guy has to try to step up and be ready to play. And, all you want in life is an opportunity. And a lot of our young guys and even guys that are playing, all you want is an opportunity. But I think you have to be prepared for that opportunity when it presents itself as well, so you seize the moment. But hasn't been easy. And I know, a lot of people deal with in team sports, you have to deal with injuries. It's all part of the game. It's all part of the sport. I think it's how you continue to push forward and stay the course and continue to try to keep your team moving forward, with the guys that you do have available to play at a high level.
All right. We'll hear some more from Ronnie Terry coming up next hour as well. But we have some more pro football notes to get to next when we continue on AM 1300 The Zone.
Harsh and Henry, the morning kickoff, tomorrow at 7.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again. Because more people are listening to the radio on iHeart today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeart Broadcast Radio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, social, any other media, even twice as many teens than TikTok. Think radio can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, podcasting, and radio. Let us show you at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com. Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as large as the next two combined. So whatever your customers listen to, they'll hear your message. Plus, only iHeart can extend your message to audiences across broadcast radio. Think podcasting can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, radio, and podcasting. Let us show you at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. Download the Lowe's app to get their home improvement playbook in your hands so you can get their team's expertise anytime.
When you're in the thick of a project, Harbor Freight is the place that always comes in handy. Whether you're picking up something for your pickup truck or a power tool for your project, at Harbor Freight, your dollar always goes further. And these days, when everything seems to cost more, you can take pride in knowing that you get hardworking tools at hardworking prices. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Using a Clorox disinfecting wipe to clean that stuck-on sauce from the stove feels like...
Oh, boy. It tickles. Stop.
It feels like coming home to your needy corgi after a long day.
Best part of the day, finally.
With Clorox. Clean feels carefree. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Hi, I'm Yvonne Nava with KView. Want to stay updated on the local stories that matter to you? Download KView Plus and get breaking news, weather updates, and newscasts on demand. Free on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Start streaming today.
Not all products are available in all 50 states. Compounded products are not FDA approved nor verified for safety, efficacy, or quality. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. See website for full details.
Why try Hims for weight loss? If you're interested in personalized prescription options, including Ozempic, Wegovy, oral medications, and compounded GLP-1 injections, and the support to see real results, you might like it. Why try Hims to regrow hair? If a range of treatment options made with clinically proven ingredients like minoxidil and finasteride for thicker, fuller hair in 3 to 6 months sound good, you might like it. Why try Hims for ED? If you've been looking for access to doctor-trusted treatments like Viagra, Cialis, and their more affordable generic counterparts, you and your partner might like it. The HIMS process is simple, 100% online, and treatments are shipped free to your door in discreet packaging if prescribed. What's not to like? To save big on weight loss, hair loss, and ED solutions, get started today at hims.com. That's hims.com.
I love my presets.
This is the best app for radio. Look at how cool this looks.
It's everything you love about your car radio in the palm of your hand.
Wow. It's got my favorite thing.
Lyrics.
Find out what everyone is talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, Price Lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
88 unread emails? Okay. New credit card? Delete. Congratulations, you've just won. Goodbye. COVID-19 news and delete. Wait. Learn about treatment options for COVID-19. Know and go. Okay, kind of catchy. Know that oral prescription treatment options are available for COVID-19 if you're at high risk. And go see your doctor if you experience symptoms or test positive. And forwarding that to mom.
Talk to your pharmacist or doctor if you or a loved one gets COVID-19. Know and go. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's the Morning Kickoff Show with Mike Hardball Harge and Mark Henry. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. Only on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone.
Continuing here on AM 1300 The Zone. Hey, what do you think about this, Cam? On the text line, somebody, I wouldn't mind seeing Cliff Kingsbury as the Cowboys' next head coach. He has thrived in D.C.
I need it. He did not do well in Arizona. Yeah. What makes you think he would do well in Dallas? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's not so hot on Cliff.
Let me ask you this. I know you said that Jerry should have fired McCarthy a year ago. Should he have hired Dan Quinn?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I think Washington season.
I thought you said that the team was better built for Quinn than.
Well, the roster, the defensive was constructed for players for Dan Quinn's defense than Mike Zimmer's. I like Dan Quinn. I think Washington season ends next week, and then the year after that will be the same thing. I don't think they're ever going to win a Super Bowl under Dan Quinn.
Really?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, it kind of looks a little upwardly mobile.
Sure,
Got
it does.
Bright, young, hot quarterbacks.
And then who do they play next week? Is it Philly? Or is
they go to Detroit.
Yeah, and it won't look as bright when Jared Goff throws for 400 yards.
Okay.
I mean, Tampa Bay, credit to them. I mean, they're so banged up injury-wise, and Washington had all they could handle with Mike Evans, man. I mean, he was a one-man wrecking crew for parts of that game.
Yeah. There's one more game to take place tonight, and that's the Rams and the Vikings. And it was a really interesting story about how they got State Farm Stadium in Glendale ready for this playoff game in 5 days' time. This was a piece in The Athletic from Doug Haller, who wrote this. And I didn't know this, and I try to follow the NFL pretty closely, but were you aware of the fact that by mid-July, every year in the NFL, all 32 teams are required to submit to the league a calendar showing the events and potential availability of their home stadium for every single day, not just the days, all days of the week requested, not just Sunday. So if they have a weather issue or something like that, and they said, so believe it or not, the plan for the wild card playoff between the Rams and Vikings to be moved to Arizona actually began months ago. Now, they didn't know it was going to be Rams-Vikings or whatever, but there were things in place. Brian McCarthy is the NFL's vice president of communication. He said it's something that is thought out well in advance. Many years we don't even need to think about this. Other years there will be inclement weather. That's forecast. will begin a process that you may never, ever hear about, but we need to be prepared. So it's 380 miles east. The league and team officials had less than 5 days to relocate 2 football teams, redirect ESPN trucks, and transform the stadium. Their goal was to make tonight look like and feel like a Rams home game. Michael Bidwell, the Cardinals owner, said he'd do everything in his power to help because of everything that has happened with the fires and all this kind of stuff. So, for example, State Farm Stadium, which opened back in 2006, is one of the premier facilities out west. It's hosted Super Bowls, Final Fours, college football playoff games. But those events were planned well in advance. This was different. To start, the Cardinals had to check the workforce. Normal NFL Sundays at State Farm Stadium require 3,500 workers, a group that includes everything from parking lot attendants and security guards to concession workers and elevator operators. Nearly everybody was available. Food. State Farm Stadium was not scheduled to host another major event until February 1st, the Monster Energy Supercross. Anyway, that'd be going on there. Suddenly, the NFL needed to prepare to feed 60,000 people. On a normal day, State Farm Stadium goes through 4,500 orders of chicken fingers, 3,000 hamburgers, 5,500 individual pizzas, 10,000 hot dogs, and 3,500 pounds of corn kernels for popcorn. They worked with Kraft Culinary Concepts to stop the shelves. The field was in pretty decent shape. It hosted the Fiesta Bowl and the Cardinals' final regular season game January 5th, but it had been resodded, but they had to paint it. And they got 200 gallons of blue Pantone 2736 and yellow Pantone 109 to paint Los Angeles in the north end zone, Rams in the south end zone, and the Rams horn logo at midfield. They said, we don't have that sitting around at the Home Depot. They had to order it. Then they sent 2 of the organization's planes to LA to pick up the Rams, their team, coaches, support staff, families, 6 dogs, and 2 cats who also made the trip. And the Rams PA announcer is going to work the game. The Cardinals staff will work the Jumbotron, but it will use the Rams content. And then the final thing, they had to clean out the Cardinals locker room. For example, even though the season was over, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s locker still had shoes, fan mail, and practice gear. This week, an equipment staffer stuffed it all in a labeled box and got the locker room ready, got that specific locker ready for Puka Nacua. And they said, and that's times 74 because of the number of lockers. So it's the 4th time since 2000 the Cardinals have assisted NFL teams. There was a San Diego-Miami game that was moved to Tempe where the Cardinals played at the time because of wildfires in San Diego. And I also know this, Rams season ticket holders, a lot of them were offered bus rides, like a whole bunch of buses, a fleet of buses were leaving early this morning to make a 6-hour trip over there. It'll be quite the environment tonight for that game. Who do you like in the game?
I'm back and forth.
So have I.
I think I'm leaning Vikings.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Darnold's had a heck of a year. We have one more hour of the show. We're going to hear more from Rodney Terry. We continue here on this Monday afternoon recap of what's happened over the weekend, pro football, college football, basketball, and more here on AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
At GiveMeTheVin.com, we like pretty cars. We like nice cars. We'll pay extra. If you think you've got a good one, go to GiveMeTheVin.com. We'd love to buy it.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
At the Home Depot, it's our business to support yours. Partner with your go-to source for building your business. We can help you streamline your operations by supplying the whole job from start to finish. Any questions? Our Pro Desk is ready to answer the call with supply sourcing, custom orders, large equipment rentals, and more. Elevate your efficiency and take on more projects with the partner you can trust. The Home Depot, how pros get more done.
At Thomas J. Henry, your fight is our fight. You will have a dedicated legal team fighting for you every step of the way. That's why we've earned more than 12,000 5-star reviews on Google. Trust the firm that fights for you. Trust Thomas J. Henry. San Antonio and Austin, Texas.
There's no better place to buy your new Chevy than Henna Chevrolet. Right now, we have the biggest discounts in the last 5 years. Plus, 0 for 60 months is available on a large selection of vehicles. As an Austin original since 1936, Henna Chevrolet has been treating customers right and saving them some serious money. For straightforward, all-inclusive pricing, together let's drive at Henna Chevrolet or Henna.com.
Henna Chevrolet, we'll always stand by you.
Texas women's basketball season is here, and we can't wait to have you join us back at Moody Center. Check out the number 4 ranked Longhorn women's basketball team as they tip off the 2024-2025 season, featuring a veteran roster including Rory Harmon, Madison Booker, and Layla Filia, who have all been named to the 2024-25 Naismith Trophy Women's College Basketball Player of the Year watch list. Single game tickets starting at $9. Visit TexasLonghorns.com for more. We can't wait to see you at the Moody Center this season.
Hi, welcome to IKEA. How can I help you?
My schedule is crazy. I just want some me time.
We could all use a sanctuary from stress. Why not turn your bedroom into the place to decompress with our selection of comfortable beds, pillows, decor, mood lighting, and so much more? Every time you step in there, it's nothing but me time. I mean, you time.
Sounds like a dream.
Here to make your me time dreams come true. Visit us in-store or at IKEA-USA.com/sleep to create a comfy, blissful bedroom today.
Shop's back. 50 years in the Lone Star State. A one-stop shop so you're never late. Price is so low that you want to know
Which way to Specs?
Come on, let's go.
Specs Wine Spirits and Finer Foods. World-class service, that's all about you.
Shop Specs, it's how we do. A huge selection since 62. Shop Specs, low price, amazing. Here's to you.
Shop.
Cheers to savings.
Bigger than ever, the Factory Mattress year-end clearance sales event. Save an additional 20% off factory direct prices on select mattresses. Plus, save over $700 on queen luxury pillow tops. Now only $588. Act now. Buy one, get one free mattresses. The Factory Mattress year-end clearance event. Save up to $500 off Tempur-Pedic adjustable sets. It's the year-end clearance event going on now at Factory Mattress.
Monster BTK, the latest installment of the critically acclaimed Monster franchise, exposes the chilling story of one of America's most infamous cases that shook Wichita, Kansas to its core.
When people said BTK, you think of a wild-eyed Manson-like character. What we didn't understand is he was the guy next door.
Listen to Monster BTK on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Monster BTK to start listening.
From the Audiovisual Consultation Studio, this is KBET AM Austin, AM 1300 The Zone. Listen on the free iHeart Radio app for all your sports, podcasts, and music. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Third and final hour of the program. You're on AM 1300 Zone. Cameron and I were just talking during the break because a cute little puppy dog in the station today. I believe it belongs to Giselle, doesn't it? Our programming goddess. So, I mean, our promotions goddess. So, she had her little puppy, cute little puppy in there. And you said it brought back memories of when we were across town, and it was like a dog-friendly zone.
It's a doggy daycare.
It was. There were all kinds of
Hair
dogs
everywhere.
there. And then one of them took a dump in the air studio, and nobody even noticed. I was in the corner. Bucky Godbolt was over there, and he's like did an entire morning show with a pile of dog poop, right, that had happened over the weekend. And he didn't notice it, and he left. Later, Chad Hastings came in to do his show and noticed it afterwards. So anyway, we hope you got through the weekend okay. As we mentioned, there's one other NFL game tonight, Rams-Vikings. There are those of us who are Rams fans that have a little PTSD when it comes to the Vikings. They've met 7 times in the playoffs, and the Vikings have won 5 of the 7 games. In fact, the Rams have won, I think, their 2 wins are 2 of the last 3. But maybe even now that I think about it, just back to back. They won the year they went to the Super Bowl and won, I think. And then they won a few years after that or something. Anyway, that when I was a kid growing up, they were just continually frustrated by those really good Viking teams that just could not get over the hump at the Super Bowl. Our question on the text line was, with the announcement today that Mike McCarthy's contract will not be renewed, and you could say fired if you want to. That's okay. It's just his contract expired. They're not renewing it. So call it what you want, whether firing or just not renewal, non-renewal, whatever the deal is. And Jerry Jones talked about it and said that it was weird. The one thing that he said, Jerry's always good for saying something that just hits different with you. And here's the quote. He says, over the past week, Mike and I had the opportunity to conduct a joint review of all aspects of the past season, our players and staff, and also spent considerable time discussing the road forward for the team. These discussions were thorough and received an appropriate amount of time and depth to cover. That's all well and good. And then he said this: prior to reaching the point of contract negotiations, though, it became mutually clear that it would be better for each of us to head in a different direction. I'm not quite understanding. It said they had these real thorough discussions, received an appropriate amount of time and depth to cover, but prior to reaching the point of contract negotiations, it became clear this isn't going to work out. So I'm trying to figure out where it shaded into that, where it went from having these in-depth discussions. I think we need to do this, we need to do that. Blah, 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 blah. I don't even think we need to talk about contract. I mean, where was the gray area? Where did it become apparent? He has been saying for days, as we know, going all the way back to the end of the regular season, that the hay was in the barn based on what he was going to do and evaluate and everything. So
if the hay was in the barn, then why wasn't Mike McCarthy let go
right after
the Monday morning after the Cowboys lost to whoever?
Yeah. After they lost to Washington.
Backwards. It's so backwards. It doesn't even make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know if Jerry Jones knows how to explain it. And I'm sure does he have a radio hit tomorrow on 105.3 or whatever?
I hope so.
They'll ask him about it, and I guarantee he'll give a 4-minute answer that'll have like 4 different Jerryisms in it. Maybe the moon will be mentioned into it. Who knows? And it won't make any sense. It's just Jerry's reasoning.
Yeah.
It's the way he thinks. And I don't know, Craig. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I don't think there's any logic into what he's thinking, because I don't understand why you just wouldn't move on from him on Monday. And I don't know if, I guarantee you, he makes the move today. Most teams, owners probably have a short list of coaches who they're looking at before they even fire their head coach, right? During the season, I guarantee you some of these owners have an idea. Okay, these are the 5 coaches I'm looking at if we do move on. Jerry's probably just doing that list right now. He's like, all right. Don Shula, is he still around? No.
Okay. Right. Reportedly, the Bears and Saints are interested.
Why?
In McCarthy. Of course, the Bears had that request for permission to speak with him denied. They don't have to ask permission anymore. Yeah. So there you go. On the text line, I offered up the question. I said, who would you prefer to be the Cowboys head coach? And one guy said, you have to think about this now. Any coach named Sean. So think about the Seans that are out there.
Peyton, McDermott,
McVay. Yeah. So so that's 3 Seans. I don't know if there's any others.
Sean Penn.
Yeah. So, and if you say any coach with MC in his name, well, that would include McCarthy, because you have McVay and you have Mike.
Bills aren't firing McDermott.
No.
Rams are not moving away from McVay.
No. No. They're saying go after him, try to get him, but you can't do that. it'd be tampering. It'd have to be after the season's over, and wouldn't do that. And Sean McVay would never go to Dallas. He would never be there's a better chance Lincoln Riley would be the head coach than Sean McVay.
Yeah. There's a better chance McVay would just retire.
Yeah, he's talked about it a couple of times, and then he gets energized again by his group. The guy's 39 or 40, whatever, you know. Who's our guy in Miami?
McDaniels.
Yeah. See, anybody with MC in their name, well, that would include McCarthy, unfortunately. McDaniels. And who's in Green Bay?
LaFleur.
LaFleur.
For now.
That's all of that younger thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been really quiet in San Francisco. There's been, obviously, you know, I know they've been very, very disappointed and they had a ton of injuries this year too, but how, you know, it's been feast or famine with Kyle Shanahan. It's either make the Super Bowl or completely miss the playoffs. So it's been weird in that respect. He's had him in the Super Bowl, what, 3 times? Twice against the Chiefs, and maybe that's it.
Just twice.
Yeah.
Once with Jimmy G, and then once with Brock Purdy.
Right. Jimmy G, by the way, did not look like a Super Bowl quarterback when he quarterbacked the Rams in that season finale against the Seahawks.
He's not going to be the next Sam Darnold.
I don't see
the next reclamation project.
I don't see that. I didn't see Sam Darnold doing what he's done, though. It's been quite a thing to view to see him doing it. Somebody else said, at this point, Jerry Jones should just make himself head coach.
Yeah.
He can kind of be the puppeteer without having to be the head coach, though.
You could argue he was the head coach when Jason Garrett was the head coach. Who would be the funniest hire? Do you think it would be Jason Garrett? If Jerry Jones announced right now, Jason Garrett's
bringing him back,
would that be the funniest outcome?
Yeah, I don't. Why would Jason Garrett ever want to come back and work for him again?
Money.
Yeah, although I imagine he's pretty well compensated at NBC.
Yeah, he says like 5 words on the broadcast because they have a 7-man halftime show.
Yeah. You know, that. Linda asked me the other day when I was talking about that question that somebody asked me about if I thought that Quinn Ewers was the most underappreciated Longhorn quarterback. And I said, at least going back to Chris Sims.
Mm-hmm.
And Linda asked me last night, she goes, what's Chris Sims doing today? And I pointed to the television. I said, he's on Sunday Night Football.
He's doing good.
He does a really good job. And I will say this. He, like Quinn Ewers, was always really nice, really easy to deal with, was friendly, was never an issue. And I, you know, tip of the cap, obviously, to the media relations staff at Texas. John Bianco does a great job, and Thomas Stepp. You know, they do Grace DeFola do a great job with football, and of course Scott McConnell with basketball. You know, splendid job with what they do with the student athletes, not just in cranking out game notes and stuff like that, but working with those guys so that they can give more than just, you know, the easy answer. They can be a little more thought provoking in the things they have to say. And they've done a good job with that. And Chris was one of those guys. He was glib. He was fun to visit with. Cole was a guy that it took some cultivation for a while. His first year starting quarterback, Cole will be the first today. It was kind of rough. Monday press conferences, because then the players are coming afterwards like they do now. And it was a little difficult. It was very, very short, 3 and 4 word generic answers. It wasn't good.
Now he's a Big Ten analyst.
How about that?
He's got his own YouTube podcast.
Yeah. He's come a long, long way. And I'm very happy for him.
I think we'll look back, Craig, on Quinn's legacy, and it'll get better. I mean, he's 3rd in all-time passing yards and passing touchdowns at UT. He won a conference championship, the same number of conference championships won by Colt and Vince Young, 2 playoff berths, 2 playoff wins, got into the semifinals. And, you know, I think you could argue he brought Texas back from the dead, you know, a 5-win program and in a short amount of time took him back to the playoff in back-to-back years.
And here's how I feel about this. And I know you agree about this part. He didn't do it all himself. And he also, when they had misfortune, didn't do all of that himself. That's part of that quarterback's getting, too much credit for the wins and too much grief for the losses. But he had a lot to do with the elevation of the program. A lot to do with the elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and one of the things working against him was one of the things working against Chris Sims. There was another quarterback, although in a slightly different thing, because Sims came in after Major Applewhite was the established starter, and then Major tore the ACL in the Y2K Cotton Bowl against Arkansas, and then that's when a lot of the and that was coming off of being the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, and but that's when Sims started playing more, and then fans were choosing sides. And if you visit with our friend Rod Babers, who's stepping in tomorrow, isn't he?
Yeah,
Rod's coming in to step in for us as we travel. So Rod B will be in here tomorrow. And Rod is very close to Chris Sims, by the way. That Brotherhood of the Wood or whatever they call them, their agreement. Those two guys and Bo Scaife and there were anyway. He'll talk about that. And Kyle Shanahan, by the way, is one of those guys.
Yeah.
One of that group of 5 of those guys. But anyway, there was already that competition thing built in. Here, there was no competition. Quinn Ewers was the established starter. He was the starting quarterback of this football team. But there was so much anticipation about Arch and his eventual time coming that it shaped a lot of folks' opinions about Quinn, good or bad, based on the fact that Arch is waiting in the wings. You don't have to worry about that anymore now. Those who were all about wanting Arch to take the preponderance of the snaps, you're going to get your wish coming up. And I think he can be great for Texas, but by the same token, I think it would be unfair not to credit Quinn Ewers with everything he did with this offense and with this program while he was here. All right, we're going to hear more from Rodney Terry coming up when we continue on AM 13 Under the Zone.
Text Texas, followed by your message to 81530 to chat along with your favorite sports radio, AM 1300, The Zone hosts. That's Texas, followed by your message to 81530. Standard data and message rates may apply.
Sports Radio AM 1300, The Zone has your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, GRAND. That's GRAND. Enter it now at am1300thezone.com.
AM 1300, The Zone.
Get the Apple Leasing Advantage today. Visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, price lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
Want to win 2,000 times your money simply by watching football? With Better Picks, every play will have you on the edge of your seat, as game day just got 2,000 times more exciting. That's right, Better Picks has the highest multipliers in all of daily fantasy, letting you turn $1 into $2,000, $10 into $20,000, all the way up to $100,000 payouts. That's higher than all those other Pick'em fantasy apps.
And it's super simple to use. Just pick a few players, choose more or less on their stats, and follow along live.
Why would you use any other daily fantasy app when you can win 2,000 times your money only on Better Picks? Go to betterpicks.com, BETRpicks.com, or download Better on the app or Play Store and use promo code RADIO to experience the thrill of playing for up to 2,000 times your cash. Plus, new users get up to a $200 match on their first deposit. It's simply better with Better Picks.
Must be 21 or older and in a jurisdiction where Better Picks operates. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned with your play? Call the NCPG at 1-800-522-4700.
Shop simple. It doesn't get any easier. You're looking for a new Ford. You don't have time to spend hours at the dealership. So Riata Ford in Manor has made it simple. Pick yours at riataford.com. We can bring it to you for a home test drive. Once you determine it's perfect, You can arrange financing, value your trade, and sign all your paperwork digitally. Then simply tell us where and when you want to take delivery. Leif Johnson's Riata Ford in Manor has made buying a new Ford simple.
Second opinions.
You get them with your health.
So why not with your wealth?
Your stock market investments deserve a second opinion.
At Henyon & Walsh, it only takes a second
to schedule your free second opinion.
Go online and search for Henyon & Walsh, the second opinion people. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services provided by Henyon & Walsh Asset Management. Securities offered by Henyon & Walsh Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
Looking for the perfect place to get a bite to eat before or after the game? Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina has you covered. With locations on 360 in Westlake or Quinlan Park Road in Steiner Ranch, both offer the perfect place to pregame or celebrate after the game. We use only the finest, freshest ingredients. Mouth-watering fajitas, fresh seafood, char-grilled oysters, and queso you'll want to eat by the gallon. Happy hour, dinner with family and friends, private events, Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina is the place. Visit vaqueroscafe.com. Tex-Mex done right.
Using a Clorox disinfecting wipe to clean that stuck-on sauce from the stove feels like...
Oh, boy. It tickles. Stop.
It feels like coming home to your needy corgi after a long day.
Best part of the day, finally.
With Clorox, clean feels carefree. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Listen to the Bama Brown Experience on the free iHeartRadio app or at BamaBrownPodcast.com.
Oh boy, we got a big delay now on 35 southbound at Onion Creek Parkway because of a broken down vehicle. The right lane shut down because of it. Your stop and go from Terry Road. That ends up being a 36-minute delay. It's slow on 35 northbound between Woodland and Airport. Set you back by about 18 minutes. And we do have a stalled car with the left lane blocked 35 southbound at Kyle Parkway. I'm Kat Cortez with your Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by Abacus Plumbing, Air Conditioning, and Electrical.
Backed up sewer line? Get the Abacus Drain Special for only $49.95. Clean out access required. Learn more at abacusplumbing.com. That's abacusplumbing.com. You can count on us.
License M20628.
Hey, it's Bobby Bones. Join me and former NFL quarterback Matt Castle for our new podcast, Lots to Say with Bobby Bones and Matt Castle. Between us, we have over 17,500 passing yards, multiple New York Times bestsellers, and one Mirrorball trophy from Dancing with the Stars. So where else are you going to find a show with that much athleticism and football insight? Listen to Lots to Say with Bobby Bones and Matt Castle on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart.
Open your free iHeart app and search Lots to Say with Bobby Bones and Matt Castle and start listening.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. We cover all 40 acres.
We continue on a Monday here on AM 1300 The Zone. And somebody asked me about, could you repeat what you said about the night before last and talk about the Tennessee game? Well, we've heard Rodney Terry pretty much address a lot of that, and we're going to do some more of that here. This was from the media Zoom from this morning, where he recapped the Tennessee and Auburn game and a look ahead to Oklahoma. So the next question for him was, you hear RT talk about, we got to play our A game against really good teams. Have to do that. And they've shown flashes of it. So the question for him was, how close is this team to playing what he classifies as an A game?
Man, you know what? I think, you get better sometimes in losses, and you don't have the results to show for it. We play a really good Auburn team, a team I think that has a chance to, be a Final Four type team, a team that can win the whole thing. They're good enough to win the whole thing. Then you come back and you play the team that's been ranked #1 and undefeated for a big part of the season, who prides themselves in being a physical team that plays really good defense and rebound. And, give or take, the game within the game and the battles within the battles of the game, the game's in the balance, and they're winnable games for you. So, you use the old adage, sometimes getting close. You can't keep saying you're close. You just got to keep working the process, and I think our guys, again, have had great attitudes. Have we been disappointed with coming up short against really good teams? We have. But they've come back, and like today, they came back with really good energy and had a really physical practice today, and really competed with each other and hold each other accountable at a very high level.
Okay. It does also kind of remind me of something Vic Schaefer said, I think, in the press conference after the loss to South Carolina yesterday about against a team like that, you have to play really, really well and throw the first punch. And South Carolina threw the first punch. And he said, and the second and the third, that sort of thing. But against a really, really good team that you're measuring yourself against, and both the men's and women's basketball teams have played the number 2 team in the country in the same week or within 1 week's time. And both came up short. The men lost by 5 to Auburn. The women were beaten soundly by a really good South Carolina team, which even though UCLA is still the number 1 team in the country, and they had their game postponed against Northwestern because of the fires in Southern California, I've watched UCLA play this year. I don't think they're as good as South Carolina. And I also trust the words of a longtime basketball person in the basketball world who was an outstanding player in high school and college and won a state championship as a high school coach and was a great assistant coach for many, many years at the collegiate level. And that's my broadcast partner, Kathy Harston. And Kathy said in the first 5 minutes of the game, at the first media timeout, she said, it didn't take me long to see this is by far the best team we've seen this year. And they played some pretty decent teams, including Notre Dame on the road. But she said by far, and you could tell it for the depth of the roster. Their leading scorers are not their starters, by the way. They have a whole bunch of players that average 8, 9, 10, 11. They have a bunch of players who do that. So the point is you really have to be playing your A game and at the top of your game in order to have a shot to beat a team like that. And that's what Rodney Terry was talking about. He was also asked if he's had to alter his practice routine and how hard they work physically because of all the injuries.
Yeah, no, Josh, you definitely have to run across your mind because you need your guys in games. I mean, obviously, we know we get better in practice, and I think our practice habits are our game habits, and we try to go hard every day in practice so we can go hard in games. I think there's certain things at certain times that like today, I want to do a loose ball drill, and Jason Kent, has a major risk, situation. Probably not going to be able to do that loose ball drill. I kind of wanted to do it, but I felt like we did a pretty good job of the battle within the battle, being first to the floor the other day against a physical team. So I chose not to do that. We put the bubble up today, though, and we got to continue to try to fix what we have to fix in terms of our rebounding and having a physical mindset to make sure we hit first and try to hold our blockouts and have guys come down and rebound. So, you got to kind of pick and choose where you think you could try to continue to get better and things we need to fix. And that's an area that we know we need to fix and something we feel like collectively as a team and as a staff, we continue to work at it. We can continue to get better with it. We've gotten better. We've just played some really good teams that done a great job, going to that glass. Just like, we'll play another really good team in Oklahoma. This is probably Porter's best team at Oklahoma, and they do a great job attacking the glass as well. This whole league attacks the glass.
Yeah, that goes without saying. It certainly does. So, this is another question, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember this, Cam, that during all the fall camp workouts, people kept asking the L question, leadership. Who's the team leader? Who are the leaders? Blah, blah, blah. And that's been happening a lot with the basketball team lately, asking who has been stepping up as the leader, if there's one specific person in the locker room.
Yeah, I think we have a collection of older guys, some guys, again, that are new to our situation, new to each other, but they've gotten a chance in a short amount of time to spend a lot of time with each other, I think, again, I've said it from all along, all season long, I think this group really likes each other. I think they really try to compete to try to make each other better, and I think they're getting better at holding each other accountable, especially in moments throughout the course of the game in terms of trying to stay connected and not splinter. I think Caden Cedric has tried really hard over the course of the entire season of trying to do that. You know, he's quietly played some pretty good physical basketball. You know, over the course of this season, he's getting guys that he's having to deal with, especially over the last 3 games that are real games. I mean, when he comes out of the game or he's finished playing a game, he's pretty beat up the next day in terms of the physicality. It's a physical game, but I think he's really tried to do it by example and as well as trying to be a vocal guy. I've challenged some other older players to do that and understand the urgency that you have to play with this time of year, knowing that, you know, this is really your last year of collegiate basketball. And, you know, the memories you're making and the opportunities you have, you only get this one time here. You got to try to always tell our guys, try to have no regrets, you know. But I would say between Caden Cedric, I've challenged Art to be a guy that does more in that regards. I think from day one, I've challenged Junior Larry to try to be one of those kind of guys as well. They're again older players, Jason Kent, you know, to name a few in terms of older players. You know, I think Jordan Pope's done a pretty good job of it as well. He's not as vocal as I would like for him to be, but I think his play and how hard he's he's playing harder than he's ever played in his life defensively. So, you know, he's making a lot of strides in that area as well.
All right. There's some from RT. We'll have a little more from Rodney Terry coming up about getting ready for this matchup with Oklahoma. We've got some other topics we'll get to as well when we continue on AM 13 Under the Zone.
From the ABA Heating and Cooling Weather Center, this is Zone Weather.
Mostly sunny, just a few clouds today. Highs in the mid-50s. Back to the mid-30s tonight. 60 for a high tomorrow.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as large as the next 2 combined. So whatever your customers listen to, they'll hear your message. Plus, only iHeart can extend your message to audiences across broadcast radio. Think podcasting can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, radio, and podcasting. Let us show you at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
At Onion Creek Volkswagen, it's game time every day. Just like a winning football team, our staff brings their A game with passion, teamwork, and dedication. From the first down to the final touchdown, Onion Creek Volkswagen is your home field advantage for a winning car buying experience. And right now, stop into Onion Creek VW for the Volkswagen Sign Then Drive sales event. Lease a new Volkswagen and get 0 down payment, 0 security deposit, 0 first month's lease payment, and 0 do-it signing. OnionCreekVolkswagen.com, home of the sweet deal.
Hi, I'm Yvonne Nava with KView. Want to stay updated on the local stories that matter to you? Download KView Plus and get breaking news, weather updates, and newscasts on demand. Free on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Start streaming today.
It's just like my car radio on my phone.
Adding presets is so much fun.
Join the millions already on the new and improved iHeartRadio app.
Seeing lyrics in the app is incredible.
It's so easy to use.
Nice job, iHeart.
Find out what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
Hi, welcome to IKEA. How can I help you?
My schedule is crazy. I just want some me time.
We could all use a sanctuary from stress. Why not turn your bedroom into the place to decompress with our selection of comfortable beds, pillows, decor, mood lighting, and so much more? Every time you step in there, it's nothing but me time. I mean, you time.
Sounds like a dream.
Here to make your me time dreams come true. Visit us in-store or at IKEA-USA.com/sleep to create a comfy, blissful bedroom today.
88 unread emails? Okay. New credit card? Delete. Congratulations, you've just won. Goodbye. COVID-19 news and delete. Wait, learn about treatment options for COVID-19. No and go. Okay, kind of catchy. Know that oral prescription treatment options are available for COVID-19 if you're at high risk. And go see your doctor if you experience symptoms or test positive. And forwarding that to mom.
Talk to your pharmacist or doctor if you or a loved one gets COVID-19. Know and Go, sponsored by Pfizer.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
Just before midnight on Saturday, February 19th, 2005, Danielle Imbo and her friend Richard Patrone left a crowded Philadelphia bar. The two 30-somethings planned to walk to Richard's truck and drive home, but they never made it.
It does not make sense. It's like they literally vanished.
The two were never seen again.
Not just them, but a truck disappeared into the ether.
Was it an accident, or were they murdered?
No one had a motive to kill them.
Those same questions frustrated law enforcement. The FBI called it murder for hire.
Who killed these two individuals and how did they get rid of them?
Both of them weren't the target. One of them was the target. The other one was wrong place, wrong time.
But which victim was the intended target and why?
It was definitely murder for hire for Danielle, not for Richard.
You're right, it could be. But it also could be something your son did too.
No one was looking to kill Richard. No one.
He's your son. And in your eyes, he's innocent. But in my eyes, he's just some guy my sister was with.
Fingers were pointed, allegations were made, and lines were drawn.
That drove the wedge between the families.
What happened to Danielle and Richard?
I think that whatever happened to my dad and Danielle was planned and orchestrated and thought out.
I'm Andrea Gunning. In this series, I dig into my own investigation to find answers for the families and get justice for Richard and Danielle.
I just want some peace for my sister's soul, and I want some peace for my mother.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
It's the Morning Kickoff Show with Mike Hartball Harge and Mark Henry. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. Only on Sports Radio, AM 1300, The Zone. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Weather's supposed to warm up. We get to the week progressing, then maybe some rain. There was another. I brought this up last hour. This thing about all of the arrangements that had to be made to move that playoff game from SoFi to Arizona. And the other side of that, Sean McVay had getting his team ready to go and all this other kind of stuff. This change in venue is almost unprecedented. And it's funny, it says, according to ESPN research, which is just looking it up really at profootballreference.com or something like that. I knew this only because of my weird mind, the way it works. This will be the second time, the second playoff game in NFL history that is not played at a team's home stadium, excluding Super Bowls. The one other time that I knew about this, or the one other time this has happened, was the 1936 NFL championship game between the Green Bay Packers and the Boston Redskins. Now, this was before they moved to Washington. And there's a history lesson for you, by the way. If you're wondering about how did Washington ever come to use that term, Redskins, it was originally the NFL franchise was in Boston, and they took the name Redskins after the historic event, the Boston Tea Party, in December of 1773, when they had a lot of patriots disguised as Native Americans. And we know the history story about them breaking open the chest of English tea to protest the taxation on the tea and dumping it into the Boston Harbor, and they called it the Boston Tea Party. Well, that's the reason why they were called the Boston Redskins. And then the franchise would move after 1936 to Washington in 1937, and they won the NFL title in their first year in D.C. But in 36, they were still the Boston Redskins, and they were supposed to play at Fenway Park. And the ticket sales were so bad that George Preston Marshall, the owner of the team, said, we're not going to do this here. You guys don't want to see the game here? Fine. We'll move it to the Polo Grounds in New York. So they moved the game to New York. And then a few days after the game, the franchise was moved to Washington. So it made me think about that, because sometimes, you know, I was joking about this with Linda the other day. I was trying to remember something, and it had popped out of my mind. And I said, this is ridiculous. I can tell you that in 1943, the New York Yankees beat the St. Louis Cardinals 4 games to win the World Series. But I can't remember, blah, blah, blah. I said, for example, I knew that in 1936, they played that game at the Polo Grounds. I know that in 1933, it was the first time they used divisions, East and West, and the Bears played the Giants in the NFL championship, and the Bears won the first one. That was first championship game that was played. Prior to that, it was just whoever had the best record at the end of the season. And there's weird how your mind works, how you'll remember some things, but trying to remember what I had for dinner last night, or you know, when's the last time I gassed up the car? Mm-hmm. Those things don't resonate with you. So anyway, they also, because of the fires, they said they would be able to use SoFi Stadium as a shelter if they had to, by moving the football game. And so they're still going to see on how that ultimately goes. Somebody, again, to the texter who asked about not being able to hear us on the radio, I'll repeat it to you, because we already said this. This was because there were satellite interference issues. That's what we were told. That's why. It wasn't anything to do with our radio station, because apparently it happened in Houston and Dallas as well. So I hope that answers your question, because I know you've asked it a couple of times. So I just want you to know that was the reasoning behind it. All right. A couple of other things from Rodney Terry. He was asked about what he thought was the biggest difference in what he has seen so far with play in the Southeastern Conference versus play in the Big 12.
Oh, this is a super duper physical league, you know, in the Big 12, you know, you probably have a Houston that you could throw in there, maybe an Iowa State that you can throw in there that will match the kind of physicality that we've had over the last 3 games. I mean, we've had some slugfest 3 teams we played. I mean, they throwing some haymakers at you in terms of the bodies that they can throw at you, you know. The thing about this league, you know, you got older bodies that are crashing in the bodies on a regular basis, and you got to be able to withstand that, and you got to be able to you got to match that physicality, you know. And for us, first 3 games, it's been physical teams, you know. And I think the game we played Oklahoma, you got the best offensive rebound in the league and got one. So you talk about another physical player that has a great body. He's been in school, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. That's the thing about it. These guys these are grown men right now. So these are not young boys we compete against right now. But this league's a physical league. They let us play on both ends of the floor. And, you know, you have to just have that, and you got to have that mindset, you know. And I think, you know, as we continue to navigate through this league, you have to try to recruit to that. You know, there's a lot of teams that recruited to that, and they understand what this league's about in that regards. You better have some grown men.
For sure. You know, the guy he was talking about, Sam Godwin, the post player for Oklahoma. It's pretty interesting to hear him bring him up, and said, I don't know how long he's been here, 4 or 5 years or whatever he was talking about. He said, I don't know how long he's been here, 4 or 5 years, talking about it. I can remember when Godwin was playing for, see, this is what I was talking about. You remember one thing, and try to remember, Wofford was who I was trying to think of. He was the center for Wofford when they played in a Southern Conference championship game against East Tennessee State. This was 2020. This was 5 years ago. Man. The reason why I know this is that I broadcast that game for Westwood One, Southern Conference basketball championship game. It was in Asheville. I did it for Westwood One, and East Tennessee State won it, and that got their coach, the Wake Forest, Steve Forbes, the head coach now at Wake Forest. It got him the Wake Forest job. And I flew the next day to Kansas City, and the day after that, the Big 12 tournament was shut down because of the pandemic. So the last basketball game I did for a long time, several months, was that Southern Conference tournament championship, and Sam Godwin was the center for Wofford in that game. That was 5 years ago, and he's still playing for the Oklahoma Sooners. So he's at the very least a sixth-year senior, because that was 5 years ago he played. So at the very least, it's his sixth year, if not more than that. Rodney was also asked about the toll that playing these games can take on a basketball team and on a coaching staff as well.
Yeah, Corey, I mean, we talk to our guys all the time about this whole month of January. It's about the grind. You know, when you start conference play and you start playing teams, you got a body of work right now where people know, we know what they're going to do. They know what we're going to do. Now it's going to get down to who's going to put whose will on who for 40 minutes, and persevere through adversity of the game, the game for 40 minutes. And so that's kind of what it gets down to right now. I think a lot of times, it's the mental over the physical. I think it's the psychic of your team that you got to continue to work with every day. I like where our team is right now. I mean, we've obviously haven't got the results we wanted to this point right now. And anytime you don't have those kind of results, I think obviously you're disappointed, in terms of not being able to close it out and finish it out. But I think their attitudes and their approach hasn't changed coming to practice. We don't have anybody moping in practice, so we're not coming in practice, giving it their all and trying to get better and trying to fix the things that we have to try to fix, which for us has been glaring, the second chance opportunities.
Yeah, there it is. Got to be able to take advantage of those things. All right, we'll be back to wrap up today's edition of the program here on AM 1300 The Zone.
Harge and Henry, the morning kickoff, weekdays at 7.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter? Right? And the best part? They accept Discover. Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer. Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times. Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants? These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Using a Clorox disinfecting wipe on your coffee table this cold and flu season feels like... It feels like being bold enough to laugh your weird laugh in front of everyone.
That was a good one.
With Clorox, clean feels confident. Clean feels good. Use as directed on hard, non-porous surfaces.
There's no better place to buy your new Chevy than Hanna Chevrolet. Right now, we have the biggest discounts in the last 5 years. Plus, 0 for 60 months is available on a large selection of vehicles. As an Austin original since 1936, Hanna Chevrolet has been treating customers right and saving them some serious money. For straightforward, all-inclusive pricing, together let's drive at Hanna Chevrolet or Hanna.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, Hims can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through HIMS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to HIMS.com/radio. That's HIMS.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water, but you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
When you're in the thick of a project, Harbor Freight is the place that always comes in handy. Whether you're picking up something for your pickup truck or a power tool for your project, at Harbor Freight, your dollar always goes further. And these days, when everything seems to cost more, you can take pride in knowing that you get hardworking tools at hardworking prices. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, price lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Coffee Shop Radio.
It's true, my bad habits lead to you.
Acoustic rock and the greatest singer-songwriters of the 90s to now.
All night, come on, dance with me. I'm levitating.
And Coffee Shop Radio goes commercial-free every weekend.
We're going down.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search Coffee Shop Radio, and listen now.
iHeartRadio.
Free never sounded so good.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. The Longhorns live here.
Well, we'll get ready to wrap it up from here. Monday afternoon. Okay, so Monday night used to be the big night for you with basketball, wasn't it? Or
yeah, it used to be.
It's the hip flexor now is preventing you from doing that.
A little bit, busy time with football and basketball overlapping. Yeah, hip flexor.
Did you aggravate the hip flexor playing pickleball? Because I know you've done that too.
No, I aggravated it weightlifting. That's where it came from.
Oh, that's right.
Weightlifting.
See, that's why I thought it was your back. But you're saying this.
Well, lower back pain caused by hip flexor. Just so I do a lot of stretching now, which is makes me feel old, but that's how it works. You got to take care of yourself. So before basketball, pickleball, weightlifting, yeah, you'll see me stretching out, trying to stretch out my psoas muscle, as they call it.
Your what?
Psoas.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. PSOAS. Yeah.
Psoas.
Yeah. You ever get a psoas release done? My Lord, you'll see the light.
Really?
Yeah, it hurts, but it feels good. Feels good.
Okay, I'll take your word on that. Hey, I wanted to update you on a baseball story. There's been a lot of talk about this Japanese pitcher, Roki Sasaki.
Yeah.
23 years of age. And it seemed assumed that the Dodgers were going to get him, with,
Yeah.
obviously with everything they have there and their investment in the Pacific Rim. But now word is coming, it may not happen. He may actually wind up with the Giants. The Padres are also considered in there. But two other teams apparently were on Sasaki's list that he was seriously considering, and he just eliminated them. One was the Mets, also the Yankees, and then the other one, the Rangers. He supposedly was interested in the Texas Rangers.
We have the money.
Yeah. But now apparently it's not going to happen. The Giants, now we're seeing multiple reports. So the Giants say they're out of the negotiations. So the Dodgers, Padres, and the Blue Jays consider. You remember there was talk that the Blue Jays had the inside track to get Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And it wound up not happening. So we'll see how that ultimately goes. The Dodgers, by the way, open the season in Japan against the Cubs. There in March is when they'll start that. And the big, because I'm trying to remember, the Cubs also have a couple of Japanese-born players on their team, don't they? One's a pitcher, and then an infielder, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's kind of a homecoming thing for both teams.
Don't they have is the Shota Imanaga, right?
Yeah, Imanaga's the guy. He's the pitcher I was thinking of. Yep.
And then was in the outfield?
I thought there was
Saya Suzuki.
Yeah, that's right. So they have a couple as well. So anyway, that's it's going to be a big kind of homecoming thing involved there when those two teams go out there. But the bidding and the negotiations are still underway as to who's going to get Roki Sasaki, this 23-year-old, and of course the Dodgers have not only Ohtani, they have Yamamoto as well. So it'll be interesting to follow in the coming days and weeks. It's also interesting taking up what the Astros are doing and not doing is the trades they made and the guys who've left, and more pieces of what that Astros, tremendous team they built for several years and won 2 World Series in 2017 and 2022. Those teams. So I think it's been interesting to follow both of those to see where to see where it's going to go for both the Astros and the Rangers as we get closer. Hey, for 1 month, from pitchers and catchers reporting.
Season just ended.
I know. I haven't even stopped celebrating the Dodgers winning the World Series. They got to turn around and do it again. Anyway, yeah, we're 1 month away from pitchers and catchers reporting. All right. Tomorrow, Cam and I will be out. We'll be traveling to Norman, Oklahoma. And my old friend and former co-host, Rod Davis, he's been a free agent. We'll stand in. And we're excited about that. Glad to have Rod pop on and host the show. He was a big part of what we did here for many, many years before both of us went across town. I'm back. Rod is stepping in the watch. We're glad to have him. We invite you to stay tuned. Covino and Rich, Fox Sports Radio is up next. For the producer, Cameron Parker, I'm Craig White. We thank you for joining us. And we'll visit with you next time. Right here on the 13 minutes.